Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Yeah, girl, you cold blood. Yeah, 너와 있을 때 I swear. 제가 먼저 zero. 폭설한 기출들. 꿈에도 I wasn't dumb. 나만 빼고 넌 모두에게 참 친절해. 배신감이 들어 단판이 태도 머릿속을 흔드니 ibuprofen 그만해 it's time to stop. 승부욕을 자극하는 style. Yeah, 알면서도 마음이 자꾸 내게 가. 아마 빠져버릴까. If you want me back, I'll tell you I'm sorry. If you want me back, I'll tell you stop trying. Yeah, you got me. Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded. Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded. Yeah. Girl, you cold-blooded. Girl, you cold-blooded. I'm like frozen 뭐야 모두 stress은 gotta let it go 했어. 소개팅 데이팅 어플 다 깔아 또 보았어. 반대가 끌린대 opposites attract. Don't know about me and you, yeah we fell into the cracks. Yeah 갖고 노네 no cap. 왜 나는 보여 what's happening. 객관적일 수가 없이 이미 game white flag and waving fast. Yeah I'm leaving back but 말해도 너만 보면 나도 내 맘 I don't know 이거 love a relationship 헷갈리기만 해 girl. I'll tell you I'm sorry. If you want me back, I'll tell you stop trying. Yeah, you got me. Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Girl, you cold-blooded. Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded. Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded. Yeah. Girl, you cold-blooded. Girl, you cold-blooded. Yeah, girl, you cold-blooded. Yeah. Girl, you cold-blooded. Girl, you cold-blooded.
Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on with you, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Sir Hell Speaks. Sir Hell Speaks in the building. Y'all know what time it is. We are in for a fantastic show. So, guys, if you're here, let me know if I'm coming through clear. Let me know if I'm coming through crystal clear. So we do a little bit of struggle streaming today. It's all right. It's good. Things like this happen. So things are happening, but we're going to get through the show. We're going to have a really good time. Something's going on with my iMac. And so I think I have to replace it, do some repairs to it. So we've kind of got a different type of setup. So it's a little different tonight. But let me know, guys, in the chat, am I coming through clear? Can you guys see me? I put on my favorite color shirt. I want it to be sharp, and I want to make sure that I'm saying, can you guys see me and hear me pretty clear? Big Bad Bull says, not crystal clear, but it's jive high. All right, y'all, listen. If we're coming through, you guys tell somebody to come, hit the like button. Tell somebody to come over here, subscribe. We're going to have a really good show tonight. So we're talking about something that you guys have already seen. You've seen it all over social media. You've seen it. This woman who, of course, you look at different TikToks, you see different versions of what took place. Something happens, there is some type of violence, and I want to stop and pause here that we here on the Sir Hell Speaks podcast, we do not condone in any shape, form, or fashion violence against anyone, right? I want to make that point I want to make it abundantly clear. But you guys saw this, and seeing this incident where this woman was allegedly hit by someone she rejected, it raised a conversation that I think we have to continue to have. And what is that conversation? That conversation is about protection. And who deserves the protection of men? Is it submissive women? Is it wives? who falls up under the purview to get that protection. And so from that, there were different debates going on. And I wanted to let the noise die down just a bit so that we can have a more intelligent conversation. And I've got a special guest who is here who's going to do just that. Now, this is somebody who I met some years ago. I used to play the piano, the keyboard, and I was writing music for a stage play. And she's a model. She's a creative, a business owner. She is doing the thing. And so I called her. We talked. And she agreed to do the show. And now listen, guys, listen, I'm excited that she's here. She is here, a fresh perspective. I think we're going to get into it tonight, guys. So as you're on here, I want everybody to feel the love in the stream. Make sure you guys greet somebody who's in the chat. I see you in the building. Everybody at somebody and tell them, ask them how they're doing. I want to make sure that their day is going well. We're going to have a dope show. But let me give you guys what you came here for. You're saying, Sir Hill, you're saying too much. Let me give you guys what you came here for. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to show your love for the one and the only Andrea Fuzzy Lynn is in the building.
Sir Hill speaks in the building.
What's going on?
Hey, y'all. Hey, I am in the building. What's happening?
It is good to see you. I am glad you're here. Everybody show your love for the one and the only Andrea Fuzzy Lynn is in the building.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So before we get started, if you can, let the audience know a little bit about what you do, about Andrea Fuzzy, about the veggies, and how we can find you on social.
So thank you for having me, Sir Hill. And I see you did your research a little bit, because I always do say I am the one and only Oh So Fuzzy, because it's only Oh So Fuzzy, one and only. So I am a woman that wears many hats. I recently moved to Houston, Texas. I am from Chicago, and I have one son. He's in college. I did model in the past. But when you're 5'10", you fan as I am, you're gonna be a model forever. That's just it. But I am a bartender by trade. I am an actress, a live events host, MC, entrepreneur, and an all-around genius. Okay, so when people try to fit me in this little box, it's like, yeah, I do a lot, and I enjoy doing a lot. I'm a creative entrepreneur, and I just enjoy just creating. And I've been growing my hair out lately, so y'all forgive me because I'm not used to having all this hair on my head, So, but I am an open person, pretty opinionated, and I'm excited for this show today.
And that's what's up, folks. If you guys are ready for a dope show, put a 1 in the chat. We're going to talk it up tonight. Now, guys, if you hear a little bit of an echo, it's because of my setup. So don't panic. Just let me know if it gets too, it's not bearable. All right. So we're talking about this show because a woman allegedly was hit because she refused to date. We're going to start off with that, and then we're going to pivot into more love and things like that. Before we do, let me show some love to the guests. Take heed to the messages in the building. What's going on with you? Big Bad Bull, GBG is in the building. What's going on, Miss Tisha? I see you, Lady Navoa. Jedi Mike,
hey,
what's good with you? The Creative Space Academy PLC, what's up with you, baby? What's going on with you? Ron and Alexander, what's going on? It's you, I see you. Lost in Translation podcast is in. The house is packed tonight, and it's only going to get bigger. Good to see you guys tonight. Let's play this video. Let's get into this. Let's take a look at this, guys.
Yo, this man just hit me in my face with a brick, and all these black men just watch, and they don't give a fuck. Yeah, this man hit me, fucking grabbed a rock, and he hit me in my fucking face because I would have given him my number. And all y'all just fucking watch. Y'all see that shit? Y'all see that shit? What y'all do? I want y'all to be a man.
Now, so Andrea, I want to make note of something. So this young lady who is saying, I want men to be a man, you guys watch this person do this to me. there was some videos, some TikToks about her saying, niggas ain't nothing, and it would be real disrespectful. And so some of the context to this is there is this expectation that men are going to protect her when she doesn't respect men. So that's a little context. Let's put a little bit more.
I want y'all to be a man and fucking do something. Y'all gonna let a man hit me in my face? Man, fuck all y'all niggas.
So, Andrea, just seeing that, let's pause here for a second. Seeing that, what comes to mind? She's around a crowd of men. Allegedly, she declines an offer for a man to date her, and as a result, allegedly, she gets hit with a brick. Just initially seeing that, what goes through your mind?
I'm not gonna lie, Sir Hill, it was very triggering. You know what I'm saying? I know that she was very upset in the moment. We don't know what happened prior to, what conversation was had. Did he just ask for a number and she said no? Or did he ask for a number like, hey, bitch, can I have your number? And she was like, fuck you, nigga. Or like how it happened. What was their exchange? We don't know their exchange. But we do know that he hit her with a brick, allegedly, right? Well, we'll say allegedly. But what I'll say, after you get hit with a brick, her face was all swole. She was swole up. She mad, she sad, she crying, and she's just expressing herself. So I know people was going in on her on social media talking about like, it's not anybody's responsibility. And then at the same time, she did say Black men, specifically. That's what she was around that night. You know what I'm saying? Black men I'm trying to be politically correct, but it's triggering because I'm a woman. I have my head bust by a man. I had my finger broke by a man. I'd have been in jail for a man trying to kill me. I ain't never had no problems with women, but I've had problems with men putting their hands on me, whether it's physical abuse or emotional abuse, mental abuse. Abuse is abuse. You walk down the street, you're not talking, you're minding your own business, and then you get a fuck you then, bitch. I don't want your ass anyway then, bitch. Like that happens to us on a regular basis. I'm about to be 45 years old and it still happens to me today. It's not the men around me. It's not the amazing men that I have in my life. And I'm not saying Black men, I'm saying men. I don't get this from women. Women don't be cussing me out. Women don't be coming to me saying, fuck it here, bitch. You ain't trying to talk to me. But you could just be walking man in your business. I made a mental note that I like to go out by myself. I'm a loner, right? But I have friends. I have family. I love to go out. But now that I'm at this age, I don't go outside without a man. Preferably my man, but I don't go outside without a man just because I need protection. And when I go out sometimes, I hire security. And people will be like, oh, you just a regular bitch. Why you got security? Yeah, I got security. It seems strange. I'm not Beyonce. I'm not nobody, but I still hire security because it's like it happens so often that women get cussed out, get their hands put on because a man done act a fool. I'm not talking about Black men. I'm talking about any man. Just some men, period. That's just how they are. So she probably did rah-rah with him, go in, but I feel like we still shouldn't put our hands on each other, period.
Okay, I can respect that. Let's put a little bit more. Salute to the lead attorney. Let me take a quick pause right here for a second. Everybody, a lead attorney, I will be kosher clinician, Obsidian. We're going to be in Atlanta this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If you guys haven't already registered for the Black Manosphere Conclave, come meet us out there. It is going to be an extraordinary event. We want to make sure all you guys get there. Salute to the lead attorney in the building. Let's put a little bit more of this because what you're saying, I think, is the the sentiment of a lot of women. And the reason why this is so important is because when people see things like this, nobody's looking at the facts. Like nobody's looking at the details because we see a bit of it and we can read or see ourselves in the situation. And I'm going to play something for you and we'll play a little more and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about.
And Sir Harold, really
Sure.
quick, I haven't even got to the part of talking about a man supposed to save us. I'm not saying a man is supposed to save us, be our captain, save a hoe, come in, save us if we have drama. I haven't even got to that point. That's a whole nother story, but I'm listening.
Oh yeah, gotcha. All right, let's take a look at this. It's only going to get progressively worse as we go on.
Have I ever done to anybody in my life?
I want everybody who's listening to listen to what she just said. What have I ever done? Now listen, we're not condoning violence in any kind of way. I'm with lead attorney. I would do something. I would do something. I would call 911. I'm not saying I would step in because I don't know, but listen, I would do something. But take a look. She said, I've never done anything to anybody. Listen to what she said.
Deserve this. I never did anything in my life to hurt anybody. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men.
Now, I do want to say this. This is for everybody. Fellas, it's very important today, emotional regulation. Like that is a very big thing. Like you're going to get rejected a lot, and being rejected does not mean you take it out. You don't take that aggression out because somebody rejected you. Now, again, I take this lesson and we talk about it, but based off of the videos that we see, I honestly can't determine if this really happened. But if it did, I think it's a lesson for men. You don't take rejection personally. Somebody says no, you move on. And if you are being belittled in some way, you don't stand there and take that and let that mess up your ego to the place where you retaliate and do something that could land you in jail. So I think that's a very real point, because if we're being honest, even if this is fake, there is an epidemic of emotional men who don't know how to regulate themselves. And when they feel some way, they take out the aggression. But that's a different story. But let's play a little bit more. Andrea, so she said she's never done anything to anyone. And immediately following, I want you to notice what happens.
Said no, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men.
Now, did you see this? Let's play some more, and you'll see. Guys, I want to rewind this. I want everybody to see this, because what typically happens is we see a story, something happens, and because it is completely outlandish and disrespectful, we'll be like, oh my, I can't believe this happens. And then you dig a little bit and you start seeing some stuff that it doesn't add up. So let's pull a little bit more. And
never did anything in my life to hurt anybody. Literally, a man asked me for my number. I said.
Now, Andrea, she says she's done nothing, and immediately following, take a look.
Okay.
No, and he picked up a brick in front of so many men. Don't fuck with Brianna Singer ever again. Don't you ever fuck with Brianna Singer ever again.
So
I'll say this, Sir Hill, right? So one thing I was taught at a very early age is that you don't put yourself in compromising position, right? You outside, one, I don't know how old this young lady is. I don't know if anybody knows how old she is, but I'm literally not going to be outside with a bunch of people in a parking lot outside to put myself into a compromised position. Anything can happen. People can start shooting. They be driving the cars fast. Anything can happen. She outside twerking, she outside dancing. Do I think that she should have got hit with a brick by any man? Absolutely fucking not. Men's egos sometimes be just gone out the window. It's like, okay, she twerking, she dancing, it appears that she hit him. Okay. Remember when we was growing up? Like, I'm about to go get my sister. She about to beat your ass. That's what she gonna do. I'm about to go get my mama. She gonna beat your ass. I always tell my son, you don't ever have to fight no battles with no woman. Don't worry. Mama got you. And mama ain't even gonna get you because I'm not gonna put my hands on the kid. I got other people to do that. So what I'm saying is to say his ego got in the way because he got punked by a woman and he hit her with a brick. But women need to understand too that you have to not put yourself in compromised positions and you have to digress because men's egos. If we want to go back a little bit, right? You remember during slavery time, correct? That let's just say we came from Africa, now we on a slave plantation, and the slave master is raping our wives and our women and our daughters and our kids, and they're also raping our men, right? So the women are looking at the men like, what the hell is happening here? Why are you sitting up here not taking up for me? Why are you sitting up here not protecting me? And they felt that they couldn't. That transferred on to years later. So I'm from Chicago, and Sir Hale, I don't know if you're from Chicago, right? Are you from Chicago?
Chicago
Okay.
Heights.
You're from Chicago
Right off
Heights,
Austin.
okay? I'm familiar. So in Chicago, we had the projects. And in the projects, of course, they guaranteed that you would have a better life, but you did not because they removed the man from the home. So it was a man and a woman, they're having kids, everything is great. But then the government come in like, well, this man can't be here. So that's another ego thing, push the man out the way. So now the woman is fending for herself. Women have been fending for themselves for so long. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying there are not good men out here. I'm saying there are amazing men out here. The men I know in my life are amazing. But some of these random men, no color, any color, black, white, Asian, whatever, have these egos and they don't like women. I know, for example, I have a son that's 24. My son's father would never hit a woman in the head with a brick.
Well, so I do want to make a distinction. So I played those two clips together, but the person who hit it with the brick wasn't the person she slapped. These are two
Okay.
different incidents. What I was trying to do was establish character, right? Something happens to her, social media, I've never done anything. But there's a
Yeah.
history where she has perpetuated violence. So that's what I was trying to establish. But I got a
So
question for you.
she deserved to get hit with a brick because she perpetuated
No, no,
violence.
no. Yeah.
That means she should just go to jail.
No. So
People
yeah,
go to jail.
so we're not saying that at all. But I do have a question that I do want you to answer. So let's say we did grow up under different times, right? We don't hit women. That's how our mothers raised us. That was before feminism and equality. Now that equality is here, we know the chivalry. Which one do you want? We want the chivalry, or we want the equality? You know what I mean? That protection that men don't hit back. We let women do that because we're men. That was pre-feminism. You understand what I'm saying?
I heard a conversation.
Here's my question for you. Here's my question. So do women deserve unrestricted protection, regardless of whether or not they perpetrate violence?
No, I don't think that's true. I think that we all have to protect ourselves. I'm not saying that if a woman goes out in the street and act a fool, a complete fucking nut, that any man around is supposed to just protect her because that's dangerous. That's how people get killed. People get killed every day like that. So one reason why in this situation that the men didn't do nothing is because they were minding their business. They trying to save their life. People pulling out guns, shooting. I mean, I've heard so many instances of people getting killed, men getting killed trying to protect a woman. you know? So of course you want to manage your business. And it looked like it was fucking chaotic out there. You know what I'm saying? I would have managed my business, but guess what? I wouldn't have been in that situation. I wouldn't have been in a
Listen,
situation
hold
where
on,
a
let's
bitch is
pause there.
twerking.
I was
Okay.
waiting for you to say it. Everybody, what Andrea just said is the sentiment of every man. Like typically when you see situations like this, it is from a woman who is sort of out of control and ridiculous and demanding protection. I would expect you not to be in a position like that. And women
Exactly.
who I expect this, I'm glad you said that, but please continue.
You know, it's like I don't know how old she is, and I don't know what was going on, and I don't really know why any woman will be outside half naked. Like I dress scantily clad, as they would say. You know what I'm saying? I wore this little outfit with no boobs showing for the podcast, but I'm 5'10", about 145 pounds. I always wear a little dress, but that don't mean that a man is supposed to touch me, talk to me, or anything like that, because I do carry myself in a certain way. But I remember not long ago, a man was intoxicated. He did cuss me out because I was like, dude, I'm not talking to you. Okay, move around. And I can be mean. So mean as got my finger broke, mean as got my head bust. I was in this situation with this woman, except I wasn't twerking. I wasn't in the parking lot. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have on shit see-through, you know, and I didn't go live after it. Nobody even knows until now on this podcast right now. You know? So it's just I just feel like, again, I said, we have to control our emotions and we have to stay out the way. If you ain't got a husband out there protecting you, you ain't got security, a big black man, somebody protecting you, stay out the way. You can't, people are, you can't be doing all this to these men. You got to shut up, move around, and that's it. Because you will get your head bust. You will get your face bust in. So, and you cannot expect nobody else to protect you. That's it.
Let me ask you a question, because I do think that if someone is over 38 and under 38, there's a perception on our social dynamics, what we do and what we don't do. So let me ask you a question. So let's say a man is with a woman and they're out, and she hits him. I want to say this the right way. I don't want to say should he hit her back.
No, he shouldn't
Would
hit her
he
back.
be wrong for hitting her back if she hits him
Yes, he would
first?
be wrong. He don't have to hit her back. He can just walk away, call his sister, call his mama, call the police. He can call anybody. He don't have to hit her back. What are he hitting her for? For what? Is the woman hit as strong as a man gonna hit? Like, she shouldn't hit him in the first place. I'm not condoning violence at no part. I'm not condoning
So I want to
a
make a distinction,
man
though.
hitting a
I want
woman.
to make a
Okay.
distinction.
I
So
mean,
the
a woman
person,
hitting a man.
yeah, the person she slapped isn't. I don't believe the person who hit her with the brick. So, but it just saying, let's say in this situation, the person she hit, if he hit her back, would he be wrong?
Yes.
He would be wrong. Okay.
Yes.
So tell me, explain to me why that would be wrong if she hits him first. And let's say that
So,
they're about the same size.
sir,
And in that video, actually,
sir,
she looked a little bigger than him. But go ahead.
Sir Hill, if I slapped you, you gonna slap me back?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We are
And
going to
then
box.
we just gonna have a fight.
But
We're gonna have a fight.
here's the thing. You wouldn't do that. You see what I'm saying? Now, I have been in situations where, because I'm a
Sir.
good Christian man. You know, I'm a good Christian man. I love
Sir
Jesus.
Hill, I haven't always been a good Christian woman.
Yeah, but
I have slapped a man, okay? And
did he
that
hit you
man
back?
broke my, yeah, he did. He broke my finger.
So was he wrong?
We both were wrong. He don't even know he broke my finger. This
If
is my
you
first
hit
time talking
first,
about this. He don't even know he broke my finger. I never talked to him again.
no, before we
He
get
don't
there,
know he
so
don't even know he
I want
broke
to
my
make sure that I'm
finger.
clear on the question. So if you hit him
Yes.
first and he hits you
Yes.
back because you hit him first, he's wrong?
I'm saying that I was wrong for hitting him. Now, mind you, I wasn't out in the streets. This was a relationship. I wasn't out in the streets twerking naked. You know, emotional abuse is real. People think they can be like, fuck you, you stupid ass bitch. You know what I'm saying? You ain't shit, and talks you crazy and expect you to always remain calm. Always. At that point that day, I was upset and I was fed up from emotional abuse. So I'm like, I'm about to slap the shit out this man. And I did. And he broke my finger.
But so I'm very sorry that happened.
So, no,
Yeah.
I ain't sorry. It's fine. What I'm saying is
Is a
that
man like I hate to hear that, but I do
what
want to focus on the question though. And let's take you out the situation because I don't like to personalize it. But just say a 5'10" man, 5'10" woman, they both weigh the same.
oh, we
She
was the
hits
same.
him.
We was the same way. I would have beat his ass if he didn't break my finger. I'm telling you that. Okay. We was the same. We the same height, little weight. He probably got 20 pounds over me. He was a little nigga. But what I'm saying is to say, what I learned from that situation is that it don't matter what nobody say to you. Control your emotions. People can say anything they want to say to you. Control your emotions. Also, don't ever put yourself in a compromising situation.
Yeah, but
Walk
hold on.
away.
We gotta address the question though. I want to establish y'all same weight, same size. If he hits you
Mhm.
back, he's wrong.
I didn't say he was wrong. I said
No, yeah, I'm asking.
we. So what you said, Sir Hill, was if I hit you and you hit me back. So do I hit you and you hit me back, and then we're gonna fight,
Well,
or I hit you and you hit me and we done,
well,
or
so
we
here's the
gonna
thing.
fight?
If you, I'm a 235-pound dude, and I bench right around 400. It
So you
wouldn't
damn
be
near
fair,
100 pounds over
right?
me,
So
right?
I would expect somebody not to even let's not even do this, right? Because it wouldn't be we exchange it. It's something would happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is what we want women to understand that a lot of women, if he's not bigger and stronger, or he is more soft spoken, a lot of times women will confuse his silence or his temperament with weakness and will try him because they know he probably will not retaliate.
Now I'm gonna say this. I'm not condoning violence again. I'm not saying no woman or no man should put their hands on anyone. What I'm saying is that people are not perfect. I'm not perfect. I did it. You understand? I did do it. So people are not perfect. Um, I just feel like that it's a difference between, you know what I'm saying, a little movie slap and getting beat down. Domestic violence is real. I've seen it with my own eyes with people that are close to me, being beat down by a man that they were with. They're not going to leave. It's a very sad situation. This is not a domestic violence situation. They were out. She was drunk, obviously, because it appears, you know what I'm saying? She out there twerking, half naked. He may have been on. We don't know what these people was doing. You know what I'm saying? We don't know if they were in their right mind. And he hit her with a brick. Would I say anybody should get involved? The only reason why I say nobody should get involved is because everybody got guns. I live in Texas. I live across from the gun store. Everybody got guns. Nobody gonna put their hands on me no more. And I'm not saying I'm just about to shoot anybody because I wouldn't do that. I've always had a gun. I'm not just gonna shoot anybody. But at the same time, I had to learn as a woman to always control my emotions. Even if a man put their hands on me, cuss me out, anything, I'm just gonna walk away. That's it. I learned. That's it. She's still young. She looks at least 10 years younger than me. I'm about to be 45. She looks young the way she out. I mean, any bitch that's outside twerking, I mean, hell, I be twerking, pussy popping on the handstand, having fun, but in the comforts of my own home with my family or my friends, but not outside. Not outside in the parking lot, half naked, where I could put myself in a compromised situation with a bunch of dudes anything can happen. You can get raped, you can get kidnapped, you can get trafficked. It's dangerous outside. You got to be fucking careful.
So with this, and salute everybody who's in the chat. Good to see you. A salute to Hanifa. Naila is in the building. Thank you so much for the $10 super chat. She says, blessings to her speaks as usual. Great convo. It is good to see you. So let's pivot a bit. Are there differences? Is there a difference between a man and a woman? Is there a difference?
This a real question, Sir Hill?
No. I'm just curious to hear your thought on it. Is there a difference between men and women? And if so, what are those differences?
Can you have a baby? No, right?
I cannot have one.
Can you breastfeed?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, women, we birthed the nation. You know what I'm saying? We birthed the world, like out of our own vagina. Like we have babies. And of course, we need our men for us to have babies. It's two of us to have babies. We play different roles. You play your role, I play my role. Now, mind you, in different households, people play different roles. I play my role, a man play his role. So many roles are confused right now. So many gender roles are confused. So many household roles are confused. But there is a big difference between a woman and a man.
So physiological differences. Like, is there, if we put up a man next to a woman, just both same age, are there physiological differences in terms of his development and her muscular development? Are there differences?
So in football, I think I seen recently it was a woman that is now in NFL, one woman, correct? Maybe
Chat,
not.
can you confirm or deny? Is there a woman in the NFL?
I have to Google it, but if anybody else can confirm. But last I checked, men's sports are men's sports, women's sports are women's sports, right?
So I'm presuming you're saying yes, that there are physiological differences.
There are physiological differences.
So,
I have
with that being
breasts.
said, if there
Do
are
you have breasts?
physiological differences, how come women don't respect that? So it is assumed that men have
Oh,
to.
Sir Hill, wait a minute. You said how come women don't respect that?
And then I'm gonna
All
let you
women?
cook. I'm
You
gonna
just
let you
grouped
cook.
women
So
together.
there are physiological differences, and men are typically bigger and stronger, but we're
Sure.
also expected to be more emotionally regulated and more understanding in the face of violence. And so my
Since
question
when?
to you is, if there are differences, why aren't those differences respected? Just your thought on that.
Okay, so for example, when people say women or men, like I hate to be like all men or all women, all blacks, all whites, all this, all that. I just absolutely hate to do that. Everybody is an individual person, no matter what color they are, no matter what gender they are. Everybody is an individual person. Everybody has their own brain. It's 8 billion people in the world. We are not created equally, period. Right? So if I act a certain way, because I think I'm a amazingly smart, brilliant woman who have fucked up a time or two, and it's cool because we only get this one life to live, and I've learned from my mistakes. But just because this woman got hit with a brick by a man because she was outside twerking, hit a man, act a fool, all this other stuff, we don't know what she did, that all women should be punished. Or all women should be either rallied by her side or rallied by the
So
man's
let me ask you a
side.
question. So where'd that come from? Where's the all women should be punished? Where'd that come from?
Because you said your question was women. Why do women?
Why do women not respect the differences between men and women?
Why do some women?
Well, so when I say women, I mean in general. Otherwise, we'll be 7% of the
can't be
population,
generalized, though.
63% of the population. No.
So
So in general,
I was about to say a percentage. What's the percentage?
well, so
63%. That's damn near 100%. So you're saying 63% of women do not respect men, or
No, so no. So let me finish the question. So let me tell you why I don't always bring up percentages. Let me tell you what typically happens in my experience. If I say 53% of this, 17% of that, and then another 20% of this, the questions that I'm going to get, I'm going to get, where'd you get your facts from? I'll present the facts, and then the facts are questioned. So I try to stay away from this and keep it general. But here in America, you see a climb in violence, and particularly intimate violence. And the reason I pose the question is to whether or not there are differences between men and women is if there are differences and we believe that men are stronger, then why does it seem like in some cases women, they feel that they can perpetuate violence and dictate how a man responds to it? Now, let's go back, and I want to make sure I clarify. We're not saying that a woman slapping a man is justification for a brick. That's not what we're saying. I'm just simply calling out something that I typically see. If a woman hits a man, her mindset is, well, he's stronger than me, therefore he should take it and restrain himself or go get somebody. It's like she's logical with what he should do, but she doesn't apply the same logic if she believes that men are inherently stronger. What's your thought on that?
Oh man. So what I'm saying is that, remember when I took the turn back and I talked about slavery, Chicago, the projects, the government, putting a man out the house. The men have been gone like out the house for a long time. I did have my father, thank God. I have my mother and my father. So many people did not have their mother and their father, and a lot of women did not have their fathers. So they did not grow up in single and two-parent households. So many young people, not even just women, men and women, grew up with a single mother. Mothers cannot be fathers, and fathers cannot be mothers. Men cannot be women, women cannot be men. Okay? So when these young men are just being raised by women with no male counterpart, no male accountability, it's like it's just not good, and the same with women. And I hate to say it, that young woman who got hit in the head with a brick, if we do the research, she probably didn't have a father. So I can't say all women act a certain way or all men act a certain way. I know very respectable women. I know very respectable men. But I feel like it's all about how you were raised, who you were raised by, what's accepted, what's not accepted. Emotional intelligence is real. We can't just be out here. It's 2023. We can't just be out here fighting and acting a fool and cussing people out. If you have a problem, keep going. Don't let your ego get in the way. Women and men, just keep going. Just keep walking. Get yourself out of harm's way. Get yourself out of danger. People getting killed every day. So why would you do that?
All right, so I got a follow-up question. Shout out to everybody who is just coming in. Welcome to the conversation. We've got the one and the only Andrea Fuzzy Lynn in the building. We're having a dope conversation. So let's pivot just a bit. Shout out to KP from KC5 with the $5 super chat. I mean, the $1.99 super chat. He says ranch dressing for the word set. Man, it need to be Caesar dressing. That's where it's at. Ranch ain't where it is. But anyway. So I asked this question because in the West, I do believe that neither men and women don't generally respect each other. But here's one of the issues we run into is the concept of accountability. So let's say whatever man, if this is true, who hit that woman, he is wrong. Whatever the consequences, if it's found out that she didn't do anything to warrant it, and by that, she didn't hit him, she didn't start violence, and she got it, that man deserves some time. But how come there's not an equal amount of, I won't even say outrage, but concern for the fact that she felt that comfortable to slap a man and then twerk directly thereafter? To me, showing a deep level of disrespect. What's your thought on that?
So I do understand what you're saying, but do I feel that she should have got hit in the head with a brick.
Now, I do want to make a distinction though. So these are two different events. We use that clip to establish character. So who she slapped is likely the person that
I'm just talking about, do you think she should have got hit in the head with a brick? Period. Because
I want to focus on the question. So how come there wasn't like an equal, and this just community wide, there's not an equal level of concern for her slapping somebody and then twerking about it with complete and utter disdain for that man.
Concern for twerking? And people watch twerk videos.
Slapping the man and then twerking.
And slapping. Did she hit him with a brick?
Now, Andrea,
who did she hit with a brick? Tell me, who did she hit with a brick?
Yeah, so let's take that situation. We're done with that one. Just for now, we're putting that on the shelf. And just this one, we're dealing with she slapped. And let's personalize it. Let's say it was your son or my son, and he was talking to some woman, and you just saw him, he didn't do anything, and some woman just slapped him and started twerking.
I would definitely not want my son to hit a woman back. That's not allowed. He wouldn't hit a woman back. Period.
So how would you feel about the lady who hit him?
I don't feel no type of way. She obviously ain't got a mama who raised her right. Maybe. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying,
we got to address this.
Let's go back. Let's not talk about my situation. I was in a relationship. I'm not talking about a nigga on the street. Okay. Let's talk about we talking about on the street. These people don't know each other, right? These people do not know each other. She slapped a man she did not know. She got hit with a brick with a man she did not know, right? Correct? Because she already said she want him to go to jail. She can't find him, correct? She don't know these people, and they don't know her. These are a bunch of people who don't know each other. But
I want to make sure we answer the question, though. So if
you keep saying answer the question, I'm answering the question.
Well, not directly. So let's say
somebody said I didn't answer the question directly. Now you pivoting on that, saying I'm not answering it directly. I'm answering it directly.
Andrea, so let me tell you how we do on Sir Hill Speaks. One thing that I'm very good at is asking questions, and I don't take the audience cues and then formulate questions. I'm asking something I really want to stick to it. If it's a man in your life and cousin, brother, son, you pick a father, and a woman, again, they're at a club, they're at a concert, something happens and a woman slaps the man in your family, your son, your father. How should he handle that situation? And she utterly disrespects him. I'm just asking, how should he handle that?
If she is utterly disrespectful, he already knows she's utterly disrespectful, and he shouldn't even be out with her in the first place.
But so we passed that. She slaps him, and then she disrespects him.
No, we can't. Sir Hill, we can't be past that. I want to hang out with a bitch like her anyway. Do you understand? We can't be past that. So if you're a man and you're outside with a woman who is twerking, half naked, slapping niggas, that's your fault for being out with her, because you put yourself into as a man, you put yourself into a compromised situation. Why would you do that anyway?
So let me tell you what's wrong with what you're saying. And I respect it, but let me tell you what's wrong with it. There were a lot of sons and men who have gone to jail or worse because they stayed in the situation, because we teach our men that violence done to him is not as significant as violence done to her. And so as a result, there are many men who are not living today because they stayed in situations where there was violence, because it was unrighteous for a man to do it to a woman. I think we're talking
about two different things.
No, we're talking about the very same thing. No, very same thing. And that's why I put when you personalize it, it makes it a little bit easier to answer.
I'm not I'm not personalizing what I'm saying. Okay, you personalize.
That's why I said father, son, brother, family. Right? I did that intentionally. And the reason why is so many of our men, we don't talk about this a lot. And the rate of DV is high because women report it more. But if you talk to people in relationships, that violence goes both ways. It's just that men don't report it. And I think it's dangerous to put a message out, either man or woman, that someone of the opposite sex can hit you and you don't have a right to either defend yourself and just take it. I think that's dangerous. What do you think about that?
like I said before, I think people shouldn't put themselves in compromised situations. So I'm not one of those type of people that just go out with anybody. So if you're a man and you go out with a woman who you know is hot tempered or about to act a fool outside, I feel like you should protect her, right? I mean, that's what you should do. You put yourself in a situation, or you just gonna let her be and walk away. If not, don't go out with that type of woman. Period.
So I think the presumption is that someone has seen her do this before, right? I think that's the presumption. And if that's the case, then I agree wholeheartedly with what you're saying. But to your point, they're strangers. So nobody has seen anything. So we really
Yeah.
can't use that, right? So that's what I'm saying. In this situation, I'm able to call out someone doing damage to the woman, clearly, no questions. But it seems like there's some difficulty saying that she was wrong for the slap. And let me tell you what I heard. So it was the men didn't protect her, men hit her, and then men weren't in the home to raise. So it all goes back, oh, the men did do something, and the lady doesn't have to be accountable for her actions for her slapping somebody. What's your response to that?
Well, I think she's being held accountable. She put herself on social media and people are literally going in on her. You know what I'm saying? So I think she's definitely being held accountable. She was the one in the hospital with a whole face swole. She looked like a fucking monster. You know what I'm saying? So I think she is being held accountable. She got her head bust. She's in the hospital.
So, okay, so karma, in a sense, she did something wrong and something came back. So, guys, it's important, everybody who's watching this, like, we don't condone violence. And it's so important
You
to
do
talk about this
condone
because
violence,
it's
Sir
become
Hill.
so easy
You
for
condone
people to say and
violence,
do
Sir
stuff.
Hill.
Say it again.
You condone violence. You
Hold
condone
on, say it again.
violence, Sir Hill. And if I would have knew you condone violence, I probably wouldn't have been on your show. But you condone violence, Sir Hill.
How about explain? How do I condone it?
Sir Hill, you said if a woman slaps you, you definitely gonna slap her back.
Okay.
Right.
So how is that condoning? Isn't that more protecting myself?
Protecting
Yeah.
from a slap from a woman? A
So
woman that's 100 pounds less than you?
let me ask
That's
you a question. So
condoning.
have you
That's
seen
protecting yourself?
Yeah, just listen. So
You
have you seen
protecting yourself.
So just listen. Have you seen any cases of the police on
We're
body
not talking
cam?
about the police.
No,
We're
I
not
am.
talking about the police.
So you seen the
I'm not
police?
talking about the police.
Okay, well I am. So you've seen the police go someplace, and let's say somebody hit a cell phone, and they got the gear up, they got the weapons out because they're protecting themselves. Completely different. They got full force for a phone. In that situation, is very similar. You protect yourself. It doesn't mean that you're the one starting it, but you're protecting yourself. I find it interesting. You say I'm condoning violence when I respond to it, not perpetuate it. Do you see where I'm coming from?
No.
So, and I think that's the bias that keeps violence going.
Yeah.
See, if it was vice versa, and somebody got you and you defended yourself, is that you condone the violence? So let's reverse it. If a man hits you and you fight back, are you condoning violence?
I'm not gonna fight back.
But wait a minute. Now you said that you've actually.
I was in a situation. You don't know when that situation was. You don't know how old I was. You don't know what happened. You understand? I'm about to be 45. So you act like it happened yesterday. It did not.
No, I'm not acting like anything.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm actually asking you. This is what we're talking.
Okay.
So I don't listen. Let's pause for a second. Andrea, this is not me coming at you. This is just us talking about a situation. And I understand it brings up emotions, but I want to make sure that we having this conversation in good faith. I'm not coming at you. And so I hope you won't come at me. So we're just talking. But if a man comes at you and your personality, and just from what I observe, you're not the kind of person that's just going to stand there and take it. Is that a fair assessment?
Well, I'll say that honestly, at this age, I don't put myself in the positions again. You know, not long ago, a man tried to holler at me as this young man tried to holler at her or whatever happened. And instead of me going back and forth when he started cussing and acting a fool, I left. I ain't started twerking. I ain't stay in the parking lot. I ain't put my gun out on him. I left. And that's it. It's simple.
No, but
Life is
my
just
question
that
is this.
simple.
Let's say you did all that and someone starts something and they won't let you go.
How can they not let me go? How can they not let me go?
I mean, well, you've seen it. Some people can accost you and just really provoke you, right? Let's say
They can't. You have to leave. That's why you have to have emotional intelligence. You have to have self-control, and you have to leave. When you see somebody getting all rah-rah with you, you have to walk away. That's the problem. So many people don't walk away. That's why we in these situations now. So many people do not walk away. I wouldn't hell, I'm not putting myself in that position right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm walking away.
So
And
I
that's
think, I
it.
think the issue with what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from, but I think the issue is it presumes that people who find themselves in a situation put themselves in a situation. And I don't think that that's always the case. I think that sometimes you can't control people and things happen and people don't have the emotional intelligence that you talked about and they find themselves in a situation. So I think it's a very interesting point that we're making. So let me ask you this last question. So do you believe that just in this culture that men are doing a good job of leading with love and with compassion and protecting women just in mass?
No.
Okay. Explain.
I know some very good men personally. I think they are amazing. I have a couple of best friends. I have um, cousins. I have some family members that are just great men overall. My son is a great man. He's very mild-mannered. He's 24 years old. You know, he's not going to ever just get rah-rah with nobody, ever. I can't even see if he did, he's really upset because that's not his personality, right? So very, I have my son's father. I only have one kid. His dad, good man. I come from a good stock, but some men make you feel very unsafe. You don't have to know them. You could have met them once in passing. You can feel very unsafe. I actually have unsafe situation going on right now where I live. I just moved to Houston. I just moved here. So that happened in Houston with the young lady, correct? So, and yeah, I feel overall with men who are, I'm going to say maybe ages 35 to 55. Yeah, it may be a little issue. The egos are getting in the way and it's an issue. I really would like to expound more, but I just really don't want to. I know I retold y'all a little bit more of my business than I even want to share. But a
Absolutely.
lot of women are pick me's. They be like, oh, men don't do that, men don't do this, and the whole time they at home getting their ass beat. You know what I'm saying? Getting cussed out, all this other stuff, and it's just like, yeah, you want to feel safe. You want to feel safe. I want to feel safe. I want, if I just walk to my corner store, to feel safe and not get catcalled like I'm a prostitute and I'm fully dressed, fully clothed, no cleavage showing, no nothing. I don't want to get catcalled. I don't want to get cursed out if I'm in a grocery store, literally the grocery store, and a man literally just followed me down the cheese aisle to ask for my number. And I'm like, no, I'm good. My man is over in a few hours over. Oh, you got a man and shit. Why he ain't over here in the cheese aisle with you? It's crazy, you know. And I hate to say this, a lot of women don't get the attention I get. I'm 5'10", I'm tall as hell, I'm thin. So a lot of women can say, oh, no, every woman don't get the attention I get. And I hate to say it. I really hate. I'm trying to sound conceited. I'm not trying to sound any of that. It's just a difference. It's a difference in some women, the attention that they get. The reason why that woman got busted in the head, she was twerking, she half naked, she muffed a dude in the face, and she bringing all the attention to herself. I don't have to do none of that. I can walk down the street fully clothed and I'm still gonna get the attention. It just happens. And I be as nice as I can. I work in the hospitality industry, you know. I'm hospitable. I'm nice. And then you'll still get treated some type of way. But it's not personal. That's what I say. It's not personal. Just because it's not men or women, it's each individual person. And it's not personal. You don't take it personal, you get yourself out of that jam and you walk away. You don't confront the person, you don't keep going back and forth, you don't put your hands on them, you just walk away and get yourself out of harm's way so you don't be in the hospital with your damn head bust. You know? She ain't have to do all that. She could just walked away. But
So I just want to go back. So most men are not doing a good job of protecting women. So from your perspective, what would improvement look like? How could men better protect women?
well, I just feel like we have to respect each other, period. We really do. You know, we have to respect each other boundaries. We have to talk to each other with some reason, you know? So I see, of course, me and you are chatting back and forth respectfully, you know, you're the homie. But when I look at these comments, men, they will jump down your throat real fast. Women, they be a little more easy. Men be the ones.
Wait, so let me tell you something. I've been doing these lives for going on 2 years. Women have called me gay. They have called me any name you could think of.
Well, I'll say this. Women are
I think to your
more,
point, it's people. I'm just making that distinction.
yeah, you're right. But I'll say that if I go through these chats, it's a couple of women that got some shit to say, sitting at home looking dry and shit, got a few things to say, but not too many. Women usually fuck with me, but it's men on here. It's the men. They want to beat my ass. They want to fight me. They want to hit me with bricks. It's men on here that want to hit me with bricks.
Wait. So hold on. Let's pause. Anybody who comes to Sir Health Speaks Network, this podcast, it's a respectable podcast. So you may see some differences of opinions there. In chat, keep it respectful, but I assure you, there is nobody in the chat that wants to perpetuate violence. As a matter of fact, a lot of the guys in here I've actually talked to before. The decent men.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference, Sir Hill. You look at decent as different. Decent men is different. So, a few years ago, I dated a guy. You would have thought he was great. Nice guy. His mama thought he was great. His parents thought he was excellent. But if I could tell you how this man talked to me, it was terrible, and nobody would believe me if I even said it. So, of course, these men are going to talk to you a certain way than they talk to their women and their wives. They're going to talk to their daughters amazing, but they don't talk to their wives like they ain't shit. They're going to talk to their daughters like they're the queen of the earth, the princess. They're going to call their daughters princess, but they're going to call their wives and their girlfriends bitches. Fuck you, stupid ass bitch. But they're going to talk to their wives. They're going to talk to their daughters amazing, and will dare a nigga to say something to their daughters.
So where does that come from? Because let me tell you what I
told
say.
You where it came from,
Let me tell you
but I
what I
don't
say.
think you heard me.
Hold on, let me tell you what I say. Women typically get what they give. So typically, if you have a peaceful woman, a woman who's respectful, a woman who is nice, most men will go out of their way to be kind to her. Do you disagree?
Sir Hill. What?
I'm asking you, so do you disagree with me? If so, tell me why.
100% I disagree with you. 100%. You think if that's you know what I'm saying, you get what you give. Oh no. That's not always true. Again, I just said it's 8 billion people in this world. Everybody is different. So you can always say that each man will sit up here and be like, oh, if a bitch is nice to him, I'm gonna be nice to her. She nice to
So I
me, I'm
want
gonna be
to
nice to her.
clarify. I didn't say
No,
each man. I said most men. Most men.
no.
So let me give you. So I met you in real life before. Is that fair to
Mm-hmm.
say?
Yes, yes, you have.
Did I disrespect you in any way?
Well, no, you're respectful. You've been married for a while, you know. No, you cool. You one of the good guys. I wouldn't even be on this podcast if you were not.
That's my point.
Period.
So I'm not an anomaly.
No,
Now,
you're not.
to your point,
I told
I'm
you I
not
know a lot
totally
of great men.
disagreeing
I
that there
told you
are some
that.
men who would disrespect, and there would be a difference between the women that they love. But I'm just saying, do you think that is most men who would there would be a difference between how he treats women versus his daughters? Do you think that that's most men?
I'm gonna tell you a story, then I'm gonna get off this podcast because I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna be open and candid. Also, you said women that they love. The man who hit the woman in the head with the brick, he didn't know her, he didn't love her. So you're talking about two separate things.
I am.
I'm talking about
Yeah, we're off that.
I'm talking about everyday instances. I put on Facebook about a week ago and I said something. It was a repost, something about, women just want to be around men that they can just cut their brain off for a minute, right? That means we just want to feel safe around a man. I'm talking about any man. I'm talking about if I go out to a restaurant, I go out a lot by myself. When I say I ain't talking about no clubs, I'm talking about just a restaurant by myself to sit down, eat my food, have me a cocktail, and do my work by myself. You best believe a man gonna approach me and it's gonna be inappropriate. White man, black man, Indian man, African man, they all in a fucking appropriate. I'm not even talking to y'all. I'm mad at my own business. Don't want to talk to y'all. You don't know my husband or my man in the bathroom. You don't know where he at. It's like, why are you even talking to me? You know? So it's just like men approach women so sexually so much. It's just like that man can have the best job on earth. He can have a wife, kids, everything. He's gonna approach you, me, a woman, in a bogusly, but then gonna go home to his daughter and tuck her in or molest her, one or the other, because that happens too. Not I haven't been molested, but it happens. I told you this earlier, and I know you're not hearing me, Sir Hill, and everybody think I'm crazy.
Hold on, wait a second. Now listen. So out of respect, I don't like when people telling me I don't hear something, but I will. I am interested in hearing what you don't believe that I heard, and let's see if I actually heard you.
When I told you we went back, our ancestors from slavery, right? Came across the boat. Now we in a white man's homes. I probably was a house nigga. My family, actually I wasn't because we did the ancestry. I don't even come from, slavery, but that's a whole nother story. So the master is literally raping the women, the men, and the kids. Now this black African woman is upset looking at their husband like, you not even going to fucking protect us. You're not doing nothing. And this man is raping you too. We can't get away. We can't do nothing. So I'm supposed to be submissive to a man who can't even do nothing. So now let's talk about you from Chicago, the Great Migration. We free slaves.
Wait.
Now
Before we go there. So weren't the
we
black
already
men?
went there though. This third time I went there though.
Yeah, weren't the black men enslaved as well?
They were.
Yeah. So and wasn't there? This is an untalked about reality about slavery, but the men were raped as well by both the men and the mistresses, and it was done so that black women wouldn't have any trust or respect for them. That's why they went after the man in that way. So I'm saying it to say, based off of what you're saying, it would suggest that men didn't want to protect when
No,
most
I
men
didn't
do.
say want to, not want to. They were conditioned to not protect. It's been going on a long time. It's a condition. They were conditioned. They were trained to not protect. I'm not talking about didn't want to. I'm not talking about mentally they want. Of course they wanted to. So then I told you, you from Chicago. Now we in Chicago. They built us these beautiful, tall buildings. You know, we didn't know they were going to be projects. We thought they were going to be middle class places that we can all live with husbands and wives and kids and all of that beautifulness until public assistance came along, Section 8, food stamps, and they like, you cannot have a man in this house. So now you saw the movie Claudine. That shit was true. You cannot have a man in this house. You have to get them up out of here. So now these men are going to the military. They're in Vietnam. They're going to the streets. They're going to drugs. Then the crack epidemic happened. Now there are no fathers nowhere. And now there ain't no mothers either. Now these kids are just raising themselves. Now these kids who are raising themselves are now just literally out on the streets,
Do you know that?
raising themselves.
Do you know that black fathers, like statistically speaking, are the most active fathers today? They're the most active fathers. Are you aware of that?
Well, I had a father. My son has a father. So I never not had a father. I never not been around my uncles. I never not.
No,
So
not you
I'm
specifically. I mean, in
I
general,
under,
like
I
black men
under,
are the most active in terms of fathers in America.
I understand. I do see that fathers are active, but statistically, if you do the research, they were not in them homes in the projects at all. And we seen how many projects there were, right? They were not around. I think now with our generation, with our age, they coming back too, because our parents' generation was the last generation of two-parent households. So my generation, most of my generation and your generation did not have two-parent households. Statistically, our parents did, we did not.
So, and I'm curious, from your perspective, why was that? So you brought up the projects and public assistance, so on and so forth. But what about some of the social issues that you think created a wedge between men and women, particularly black men and women, from being together?
Prison, Vietnam, the government assistance, and sad chicks.
So I agree with most of what you're saying. It seems like you have a perspective that men are mostly evil and brute, and that good men are harder to find. Is that assessment correct or incorrect?
Oh no, don't go there, Sir Hill. Don't go there, Sir Hill. I
No,
said I had a
I'm asking you.
father.
So this is an interview.
You
I'm
asked
asking you a
you
question.
asked
Yeah.
me, and I'm about to. No, don't go there. I have literally said 10 times in this podcast,
Oh, what does that mean? Don't go there. Where am I going?
and that's the reason why I don't do podcasts with y'all. I said 10 times in this podcast, I know beautiful black men. I'm surrounded by beautiful black men. You ain't never said that. After I kept saying it, I've been saying it. I said if I walk down the street or I go to a restaurant, it's those random men who I don't know. I don't know them. All I know is that I am surrounded by beautiful black men. But when I go outside in the street with me and that woman who got her head bust, she didn't know him. The man who bust my head, I didn't know him. You understand? I don't know these people. These are people I don't know. These are men that I don't know.
Let
The
me ask
men
you a
that I have in
question.
my life are amazing.
Let me ask you a question. It seems like it's so easy. Like there was literally nothing but respect. But like I invited you to the show because I remember us talking about this last year, like March of last year. And I just noticed when we have conversations and they get tough, like we borderline on disrespect, and we start assuming like the other person is either coming for you, or we start reading into what a person is doing or what their intentions are. I guess this is a learning. Why do we do that to each other? As a black man to a black woman, why does it become contentious when we're just having a conversation? We're done with the interview, but I'm curious about that.
Well, Sir Hill, I feel that you I guess in order to keep your show interesting, you did come for me. I already got enough going on. I definitely did not come on this show. I thought it was gonna be a little lighter, and if I would have knew we were talking about this today, I wouldn't have came on the show. Swear to God on my life, I wouldn't have came on the show. I don't want to talk about no bitches getting their head bust. I told when before we even came live, I told you if I would have knew we was talking about this, I wouldn't have came on here.
And if you would have said, I'm not comfortable with it, I'd have switched the subject.
But I'm a woman of my word. I'm a businesswoman. I'm not.
And I'm a man of integrity.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, so all of my guests.
Let's go. And
you
here
can,
we go.
if you
So
look at
I'm
the
just
chat.
gonna have to deal. I'm just gonna have to deal with the chat, agreeing to disagree. I'm gonna have to deal with it, and it's okay. I'm a public figure. It's fine. But do I want to talk about men hitting women? Never. No. Do I want to talk about men and women? No. We ain't talk about no fucking love. I thought we was talking about love. You told me we was gonna talk about this, and then we was gonna talk about love. Afterwards, we done talked about this for an hour, 30 minutes. I thought we was about to talk about love. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought we was about to talk about. But we didn't.
I kept pivoting the conversation.
All we talking about was contention.
It's really interesting that we spent most of the interview, I'm responding to the points you made, right? But again, if you feel uncomfortable, it is never my intention to bring somebody on my show and they don't feel absolutely 100% comfortable with being on the interview. So if that was not made clear, well, I want to make that clear now. I believe in love, and that's actually why I brought you to the show, because I think that with what we see, I think it perpetuates this idea that we don't love, and that's why I brought you on the show today. So I'm not sure where it got lost in translation, but these kind of subjects tend to do that. But that's not what it's about. So do you have a few more minutes to be on the podcast?
Sure.
All right. Everybody in the chat, this is a special guest. Everybody keep it respectful. I always ask my guests, though, to stay out the comments because people are going to say stuff. So, yeah, people are going to say stuff. So let me bring up Mosaic
I don't
with
be
TJ
worried
Randolph.
about people. Can't nobody faze me. Let me tell you, most people don't have the balls to do what I do. Most people don't have the balls to get on no camera, no platform. I've performed in front of hundreds of thousands of people, and they in the comments.
No, you're good. You mentioned it. That's why I'm bringing it up. If my guest doesn't feel comfortable, I have to address it. So let me bring up Auntie Terry. Mosaic with TJ Randolph is in the building. Let me bring her up. It is good to see you. How are you?
Hello, how are you doing?
I am excellent. It's good to see you. Everybody take a look at Auntie. Looking like you looking. I see what you're doing. So I'm not sure how much of the show you heard, but how much did you hear and what would you like to add?
Well, I just heard about the last, I guess, 20 to 30 minutes of it. So I'm not really sure where you started versus where you ended. But I gleaned that you're talking about the lady with the brick. I think, well, you said something, why do you think that there is so much more outrage with her being hit with the brick vice the men that she slapped, that we see her slapping? And I wrote that I believe it is the level of violence. Not that it is violence, but it is the level of violence. Had he slapped her, like Digital Underground, you slap me and I slap you back. But by virtue of the fact that it was a brick, I think that is what we're talking about, the disfiguring and the potentiality of not only death, but traumatic brain injury. So I think that is that level of that's the reason for the outrage. I will also say, though, I have done a couple of videos with respect to her, her slapping men. And I said, in my opinion, if it wasn't a skit, when she did those things, she deserved to be slapped back. If you slap me, I'll slap you back. Again, but again, I said the accountability needed to be had in that moment, in the moment when she did the act, not to bring it up later, because 9 times out of 10, before she got hit with the brick, none of us knew about her slapping these men. So you can't predicate what should have happened now versus what you didn't even know happened before. Both are bad. Keep your hands to yourself. But it can't be, what she did in the past. Again, we wouldn't even know about it if people didn't do research, but it has nothing to do with what happened on that particular day. So that's my take on it.
Excellent. Andrea, did you want to respond to this, or Auntie DJ, did you have a question for Fuzzy?
Well, I do. It's it seems like you are very hesitant to say that we are wrong, meaning we as in women, because I heard you say that you think that he's perpetuating violence or encouraging violence. I'm paraphrasing. But I think he makes a very compelling argument that if somebody slaps me, I'm going to slap them back. And, the same should be for a man, because, again, you should keep your hands to yourself. But I have no problem saying that if a woman is bold enough to slap a man, she should be prepared for what comes after that. Knowing
you
that,
missed the beginning of the chat.
Okay.
I didn't. Yeah, you missed the beginning. I didn't say that no man should ever hit a woman back. I didn't say that. What I'm saying is that if I slap you, I shouldn't get hit with a brick.
I agree.
That's it.
I agree. I absolutely agree.
Slap me back. We can slap each other. We can slap each other all goddamn day. But should I get hit with a brick because I slapped you?
No, I agree.
As a man, let me tell you, the problem with that is, like, you can decide what you do, but you can't decide somebody's response. And that's why I think it's important just to stay out of the situation altogether, because you can't dictate what somebody is going to do and their level of offendedness or their offense from what you did. Do you agree with that point, Fuzzy?
Do I agree with what point?
That you can control what you do, but you really can't control how somebody responds to what you do.
Exactly. That's why I said you have to have emotional intelligence and just walk away and don't put yourself in these compromised situations. Don't be outside twerking in the damn parking lot of the damn club. Take your ass home. That's it.
Now,
I had something else, because your auntie will forget. One of the things I do remember, and correct me if I'm wrong, Fuzzy, that you're saying you can be in a grocery store and, random men will come up to you and stuff like that. And believe it or not, that's happened to me, not so much in my 50s, but definitely in my 30s and 40s. But what I have found then, even to a degree now, because, when I put myself together, I'm quite fine.
You fine, Auntie. You. I forgot what I was talking about. I was like, what? Whatever you say is right. Okay.
But what I found, and because I've watched it, when men have approached me, even in just, regular conversation, their response a lot of times is predicated on my interaction with them. Meaning, even if they're flirting with me, I will be coy. I will say, thank you so much. I'm married. But a lot of times I see when men approach women, what you talking to me for? What?
Oh, no, I don't do.
I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about in general.
Yeah.
I'm talking about in general. So when we talk,
that get me in more trouble, because I'd be like, I'm flirty, I'm nice, I'm just like, I'm a bartender by trade, so I'm just like, and then next thing you know, they really don't leave your ass alone, and they done followed you to the checkout, and then my man that came and met me at checkout. Now it's like you have to have boundaries, though.
I agree.
What my man say to me? He said, I'm too nice. You're too nice, Fuzzy. You're too nice. I'd be nice because I am a hospitable person. I don't want to cuss nobody out. I don't want to be like, fuck you, what you doing talking to me? Actually, I'm like, hey, how you doing? I'm too nice. I am too nice. And too nice got me in too much goddamn trouble. So it's like hard to have a balance.
It is. It is a delicate balance. And I will not lie, the environment in which we move is very different. I just think, and it's interesting because I can take myself out of it. My daughter is 29, and, recently, but about a year ago, she would tell me that she was at Target and this man was flirting with her. And when she was recounting the story to me and how she basically was gracious, as I taught her, because I taught her to be that at 19, because I saw the shift changing of people don't take rejection very well. So she was gracious. So even at this age of 28 at the time, how she was able to thank him and be gracious, but still leave him feeling like a man, not feeling like, why are you talking to me? Yeah. And I think, and I'm just gonna say, I've seen in my 56 years, I'm incredulous, because I didn't know we could be so mean. And what I mean by that, excuse me, y'all, we mean as fuck. I mean, by just somebody trying to just say, hey, you look beautiful, or hey, beautiful. And here's the thing, I understand not wanting cat calls, but if you're attracted, that kind of comes with the territory. It doesn't, it really does. And you can, and it's how you handle it. And sometimes, every situation is different, but more often than not, how you handle it determines how the situation handles you, from what I've seen. That's just my take on it.
Fuzzy, did you want to respond?
No, I definitely agree. And if people know me in real life, they'll know that I'm outgoing person. I've been a personality for a long time. I'm all love and light. And sometimes you can be all that and people will still try you. And then when those people try you, you have to get out that jam real fast. Because like I was telling Sir Hill earlier, I've never really had problems with women. You know how some women just don't get along with women. Women love me. I get along pretty much with everybody. That's how I make my money, from being a people's person, But some men cannot handle rejection. And it's not even that you're rejecting them. It's just that you're just trying to buy your groceries, leave out the store. You try to have you a nice little dinner by yourself. You're just trying to manage your own business. And mental illness is real on everybody, on a lot of people's part. Men, women, doesn't matter what color or race you are. It's just that mental illness is real, and you have to be very, very, very careful.
I agree.
That's a good point. What we as men are working to do is create a safer. Auntie, appreciate you coming up here. It's good to see you.
Thank you. I'll take care. Nice meeting you.
You too.
Yeah. And Drill, to your point, and to Auntie TJ's as well, I do think it's important that we do talk about emotional regulation. I've done several shows on that. So that point is well noted. And I hope that all men who are listening understand this as well. Von Bryan added a comment. And the comment was, the brick was extreme, not really understanding why we don't see that. The situation could have been handled differently. 100% agree. It was extreme, completely extreme. To me, it was overboard, over the top. She didn't deserve that, particularly since the clips that I showed were two different events. I don't see anything that will warrant that. But the point that I'm bringing up, this is for everybody who's listening. There's got to be a level of respect we show to one another, because you get a chance to dictate what you do, but you don't get a chance to dictate how somebody responds, because you don't know their mental state. So it's best to keep yourself protected and to respect at all times. With that being said, I do hold men to a different standard where we protect ourselves for a couple of reasons. Number one, because we're stronger, but because the legal implications for us is a lot higher if we aren't smart about what we do. So I want to make that point clear. Fuzzy, you have a few more minutes for another call?
I do.
All right, guys, everybody who comes up, respect my guest. What we're not doing is we're not putting anybody on the spot and trying to get a aha, I got you moment. It's got to be our respect. All right, bringing up the next person. Lost in Translation podcast is here. Jedi Mike, I see you. You will be up next. Scam Likely, and then my man Chris Smoke. All right, Lost in Translation, how are you?
How you doing, Sir Hale?
Excellent. How are you?
I am well. Am I coming in clear?
Right. Excellent. I'm not sure how much of the show you heard,
I've been,
but how much did you hear, and what would you like to add?
I've been here since the beginning. And I think this is where I need to speak my piece, because this is the part of the equation that nobody takes into consideration. When men protect women who they don't know, they get hurt. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a story because this actually happened to me. When I was roughly in about the 6th grade, and me and my brothers were walking home from school, and it's a bunch of us, so we all kind of walk home together for protection, of course. Okay. So, of course, you know, we're walking the ladies home with us as well as gentlemen do, you know. So there was this group of guys who were basically gang members. We knew who they were. And they, you know, proceeded to grope the women. So, of course, you know, I stepped in and said, hey, don't do that. And they continued to do it. Well, the next thing I know, I got a brick upside my head. So at that point, all bets was off. You know what I mean? It was about roughly about 6 or 7 guys. And of course, you know, I dispatched them, you know, it took me a minute to get rid of all of them and handle business, but it got taken care of. But in the event, I still got my head bust. Now, my brother was with me at the time. He didn't help, which I didn't understand what was going on. So when I got home and my dad saw that my head was bleeding, and he asked my brother, he was like, well, how come you didn't help your brother? And my brother was like, well, Dad, to be honest, he looked like he had it. And of course, you know, my dad had something to say to my brother after that. But needless to say, my brother knew not to not help his brother when he's in need. And I say that to say this is that a lot of times we don't take in consideration those people who jump into situations like that and they're hurt. You see what I'm saying? In this particular situation, I got hurt. Now, what really made me upset was that she never said thank you. You know what I mean? She never called, came by the house, checked on, see how I was doing, none of that. And I went out of my way to protect her and to protect the other women that we were with. And this was when I was in the 6th grade. So I was probably roughly about 12 years old. You see what I'm saying? So generally, boys don't take on the responsibility of somebody who's not somebody that's related to them. And I hear this talking point that men don't protect women that they're not related to. That is a lie. There are men out here who will protect women that they don't know. Okay. Now, as far as the brick upside this lady's head, now, Sir Hell, here's the thing. I'm gonna go ahead and say this because it needs to be said. And I don't like to victim shame. You already know this. I'm a fair person. I believe in making sure that we get all the information, and I don't like when people do that. Because if you remember a few summers back when the police were, you know, handling business on the brothers, you know, every time something that happened to a brother by the police, what will happen is they'll go back and dig up old stories and say, look at this, look what he did. You see what I'm saying? And I don't want people to fall into the trap of what happened in this particular situation by them saying, hey, look at what she did. She probably deserved to get, you know, done whatever it is she got done to her. I don't believe that. Now, here's the thing, Sir Hill. There's evidence out there where there's a possibility that a guy didn't hit her at all. I got a video where those guys who were out there who actually witnessed that and said that she actually got into it with a woman. Now, if you ask me, that changes the story altogether. Now, everybody's saying that it's excessive for a man to hit a woman with a brick. Is it okay for a woman to hit another woman with a brick? You see what I'm saying? Because the story, to me, it shouldn't change. You see what I'm saying? So in this particular situation, even if she's not telling the truth, and then you got other people coming forward and saying, no, she didn't get into it with a man, she got into it with a woman, does that really matter? You see what I'm saying? I would expect a woman to exact that amount of violence to another woman, because women don't go fair. They don't fight fair with each other. You know what I'm saying? Just like guys don't fight fair with each other from time to time, but there's a certain level of respect that men give each other. But when, for some reason, when it comes to men and women dynamics, to me, it seems like women have this protection that there's a hope that he won't enact a certain level of violence to me. And what happens is that sometimes women miscalculate that and it goes wrong and it goes bad. But like you stated earlier, I don't believe in violence. You know what I mean? Because at a certain point, when you get to a certain level as a man, you can unalive somebody. You know what I mean? And you don't want to go to jail. That's just not what men do. So I'm having a hard time thinking about a man who's stronger than a woman would actually use a brick. Now, if it was another woman who used a brick, that to me would make more sense. And based upon the information that I saw, I'm more inclined to think that it was a woman who got into it with her and used the brick.
Very interesting. Very, very interesting. So, yeah, guys, we want to make this abundantly clear because in the great world of YouTube, people will take 30 seconds of you saying something and construct a belief about you. No man on this platform believes in going after our women. We don't believe that. And that needs to be clear. You'll hear certain podcasts that will suggest that there are no differences between men and women because women, in terms of feminism, made it so. But most men, our core, we believe that we're stronger anyway. And if you're old school, a lot of men have gotten hit, but we'll play it off like it didn't even hurt because there's something about our pride. We know that there's a difference, even if she doesn't know it. So I think you bring up a good point. Did you have a question for Andrea?
Not really. I'm good, sir. Yeah. Thank you, sir. I'm going to let the next guest move forward. The question is, does she have a question for me?
You said, Andrea
No,
had a question.
I just have a comment because you know what? We didn't talk about this, Sir Hill. I never said that a man should take up for a woman. I never said that. You know what I'm saying? Because too many men have gotten killed in situations like that. I never, not once said through this whole damn near 2 hours we on the phone that a man should have took up for her. What I said was her ass shouldn't have been in that compromised situation. You know what I'm saying? And honestly, I'm glad that I hate to say it, lost in translation. I'm glad that you learned early, you know, that happened, you know, because I don't expect a man to just, you know, take up for me unless it's my man, my husband, my father, something like that, if it's a situation. But if I'm outside twerking, acting a fool, muffing men and doing all this other stuff, I can't expect you to do that. You know what I'm saying? So while I'm just happy you learned early that that's not what you should do. And do I expect my 24-year-old son, if a woman is out here acting a fool, for him to just come to her aid and assist? No. But no. So, you know, I do agree with exactly what you're saying.
I will say this though, and lost in translation, tell me if I'm incorrect. Most men, even if a woman is out there like that, there's still something we still looking out for, even if it's not as obvious, because we don't want it to happen to her. Is that fair?
There's always something in us that makes us want to protect somebody, whether we want to admit it or not. And what happens is I think men get a bad brand because of the excessive dialogue that's surrounded by men. And sometimes men get a bad rap. You know what I mean? Men want to protect. They want to provide. They want to make the world a better place for women. So when I hear stories like that, to me, it sounds excessive and it doesn't add up because I don't see that on a regular basis. And it's so rare that when I do hear about it, I'm like, what type of person would do something like that? You know what I mean? So that's what led me to believe that it was something else that was more to the story that took place. And I tell my guys all the time, I say, y'all make sure y'all are careful when you're talking about men, you know what I mean, on these platforms, because it puts men in a bad light. I hear guys say all the time, well, men don't know how to do this and they don't know how to do that. Well, let me ask you a question. Why should a woman respect men if all she's ever heard about men is bad? You know what I mean? How is she going to believe that you're going to protect her if the press is out that men are bad? You know what I mean? And my thing is this, does that service the women well to take away their natural protectors by telling them men are bad? You see what I'm saying? Men want to protect. But if our women don't trust us to protect, then it's actually doing them a disservice, or hell, we can't. They're not in a position to be protected. Does that make sense?
Yes, so I want to ask you one more question, and then we'll wrap up. Everybody could just join in, hit the like button, and tell people to come over and subscribe as well. En masse, is it in terms of the Black community, and then we'll go out, is it our job to protect our women?
You know what? I'll put it to you like this. We're supposed to, Soraya. That's our job. You know what I mean? And sometimes I put it to you like this. I don't always do the right thing. You know what I mean? But I expect people to extend courteousness and kindness wherever you are. You know what I mean? If I see somebody on the street that's sick or hurting, I'm going to make sure I attend to them, because if I were in that position, I would want somebody else to do that. But naturally, our men are going to protect our women, whether they're going to act right or not. It's just something that's in us to do that, Sir. And what happens is we get the bad press that says men don't want to protect. And it's just simply not true.
Everybody, this is Lost in Translation podcast. Everybody in the comments, just type lit. He came through and dropped wisdom as always, locked and loaded. My brother, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, Sir.
If you can you stick around?
I sure can.
Okay. All right, guys, this is good. So, Andrea, so if you and I, we're in Chicago, and let's say, you know, we're at an event and something break out, I got to look out for you. I don't owe you anything. You don't owe me anything. But as an extension of who I am, I got to look out for you. I'm saying that to say, I don't think a lot of women know how many men care about them and are looking out for them, and they just are unaware of it. You understand what I'm saying? And this is most men that I know. Like, it wouldn't be, well, I don't know her, she ain't my girl. If I know you are a fire starter and you start fights, then that might be different. But just meet from what I've seen from you and knowing you, you've always come through as a sweet person. So if something goes down, I gotta do something. And I think that's how most men are. So let me bring up another guest. Jedi Mike, how are you? How much of the show did you hear, and what would you like to add?
How you doing? I heard everything from start to beginning. Well, thanks for having me. I just want to also just clarify that I am 24 years old, so I am old enough to be this woman's son, and I'm also just recently married, newlywed. And
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I talked to another person who's in the back chat right now yesterday after his live stream, and we see the narrative that's been going on these platforms, especially, you know, people reposting, you know, bricks in the chat and everything, and just kind of just trolling and making a mockery of the situation. And again, I just want to iterate what Sir Hill is saying, that everybody on this platform, we don't condone anything in terms of that attack on women. We know for a fact that was absolutely excessive. I think the situation, can we keep going to, which is one thing that Sir Hill, preaches about, that we lack value between men and women, just, not only just in these spaces, just out in everyday life. And today, the lines again so blurred on terms about our roles. It's certainly like, what is a role for a man to do in those situations, or a woman in that situation? The lines are so blurred to the point now where we're almost like in a stalemate, where we don't want to respond, and because we're damned if we do, or we're damned if we don't. And as someone who's young, I'm in a generation where I'm growing up where, again, like the value of the expectation of men is going down, while we're talking about the men and women are equal. But in situations, well, if I was in that situation, who's going to pull up for me? This is one thing in active shooting responses, where one of the rules, they say, hey, no one's not coming for you. And it's a shame, because that's not how the way I was raised, right? Both my parents are in their 60s, so there is a thing about being a brother's keeper to not only the other men, but especially our women. And I just think that we kind of lost that conversation on how to protect each other in these situations, because now the way we're responding emotionally is, throughout the last about 10 years is just very drastic, especially where if we're just having a bad day. It's not like, okay, I might be depressed. It's like, no, I'm having a bad day, and I'm gonna take everybody out with me. And, and it's just like, and as each day goes by, we keep getting more surprised about, when people are reacting emotionally, is that the consequences of those actions of not having emotional control. And I'm one thing I just want to kind of encourage younger people, because I think in that environment, those people is probably between the ages of 18 and 35. So I'm in that age bracket. And I think we have to have more better conversation of how to respond in situations than to react. Because I think also I know some of the situations like that, some men might just been like, not just saying in shock about what just happened. They're just like, because there's a fight or flight response. So it's like they probably didn't know how to respond to that. But and the last thing I want to add is that one thing that been really frustrating is that just in terms of when I saw that graphic image, like I come from a mother that was was in a domestic relationship. So it's like I understand in terms of women's outrage in those situations. Though, and this is prior to her being my father, by the way. But I understand the frustration that women are having online and everything, but I don't want it to have the conversation of just kind of just downgrading men entirely, because then it's basically when men are some people who actually want to come save you, they might be looking at this world and they're like, okay, screw it, you telling me I don't have value, I don't want to help you. And I don't want us to have that conversation. I want us to look at and assess this, okay, how this could have been handled differently, because it definitely, like, that was a very graphic image of just her, so that definitely went viral, and rightfully so, because like that was just, I've never seen anything like that, at least on a public fashion like that. And but we're just seeing more and more instances, especially us as Black people, where we're getting assaulted, men or women, and I feel like we just came off of the Montgomery situation where someone was being attacked and we all came and rushed from. But not every situation can turn out that where our own people are going to be coming in mobs and trying to defend us. So we just had to have a better conversation how we need to respond to those.
Do you have a question for Fuzzy?
I didn't really came to your son, because you say he's 24 years old. Just like I didn't know if he was in a relationship, or just because in our age demographic, we're also, again, we're told that in terms of men and women are equal in the situation. So when something happens like that, well, it's like, okay, well, if I go help you, then I'm gonna get attacked, whatever. Or a woman said, "Why are you helping me? I don't need no help from no man." It's just like those narratives are happening in my age group. So which your son is in also. So I just want to ask, like, what advice would you give to your son in that?
Well, I really like what you said. You're a very bright and brilliant young man, I can tell. And congratulations again on your nuptials. What I tell my son, and me and my son's father, what we always tell our son is that, always do the right thing. He's a pretty mild-mannered young man. He's in college. The pandemic hit, so a lot of the kids had to come home. So he's been back in school after the pandemic the past few years. He's a musician. He's a drummer. He's just focused, hell-bent on, he's just hell-bent focused on just being in school and, getting his degree done. He's never been one of the type of kids that I can see going in on a woman. So the advice I always tell him, son, if you ever in a compromising situation, call me or call your father and get out that jam as soon as possible. If a woman is going in on you and she want to put her hands on you, get out of it as soon as possible. Don't put your hands on a woman, get out of it, because you're going to go to jail. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her to kill you. I also say that as well. Be honest. Just be honest. If you're talking to a woman, talk to another woman or whatever it is, just be honest, so you don't be in no situation, but get yourself out that situation. Because as people always say, some people were raised on survival and a lot of people weren't raised on love. So I was raised in love.
Right.
I want to love.
Absolutely.
My son was raised in love. He wasn't raised in survival. He don't have to survive. He can just be loved. He got parents who got good careers, got a few dollars. He wasn't on the streets, so it's like some of these kids though who are y'all age, and I could tell you were raised on love as well. Some of the kids who are y'all age, it's bad out here because the parents, I'm like your parents' age, except you said your parents are like 60. So your parents had you a little later, but it's like during that time, it was the crack epidemic. It was
Yes.
so much struggle going on, so much going on that so many people couldn't raise their kids. And I'm a parent out here who did raise their kid, and there's parents out here who didn't raise their kids, who kids in the streets, who kids not on a full scholarship like my kid is, who I can move around and travel the world because I know my son is good. But So that's all I just tell him is just make sure, don't put yourself in compromised situations. And if you ever feel like you are, get out that jam immediately, please. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
I agree. All right. Thank you.
Excellent, Jedi Mike. I appreciate you. Everybody in the chat, just type Jedi Mike is in the building. It has been a long time. Good to see you, my brother.
Absolutely.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna bring up Dusto. And Dre, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling excellent.
Excellent.
I am.
Good.
I am feeling good. You know, Sir Hell, it's I know you're probably a little worried about me, but Sir Hell, I'm a thug, you know. It's hard to get me down. I don't really get down. I'm an optimist, like a 100% optimist. Even if so, I was saying earlier, like these bitches, this, that. So I have a brand called Eat Your Veggies Bitch. So people will say, oh, you call the bitches bitches. I just say the word bitch. That's how I get y'all bitches' attention. Eat Your Veggies Bitch. That's my brand. I got a cookbook coming out. Y'all, men and women need to buy it. So I just say the word, not as anything derogatory, but as a term of endearment. Okay.
Excellent. So you got a couple more people who want to talk to you. Dusto is in the
Absolutely.
building. Everybody, show your love. Our guest is Andrea Fuzzy Lynn. If you're in the
Yes.
chat, show some love to her. She's been a great guest. We got a couple more calls, and then we're going to wrap up the show. Dusto is next, and then I'm going to bring up Bolo TV, and then we're going to wrap up. Dusto, how are you? How much did you hear, and what would you like to add?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Hey, good to see you, man. How are you?
All is well. I pretty much heard the second half. Like, so a couple things I want to say out to the public. Number one, women, don't be hitting men because you don't get to control the outcome. Number two, men, don't be hitting women with bricks because you're going to have an outcome. It ain't going to be the one you want. That could be attempted murder or assault with a deadly weapon. You ain't coming home no time soon. Number three, the man celebrating a woman getting hit with a brick. What are you celebrating? You're talking about, because one way it's, well, the men's and the bliggity blackity men's and women's got to work together, but you're celebrating them destroying each other, like to a whole nother level. You're talking about a whole man cracking on a woman. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know what the real story. I'm probably not going to look for it because social media is going to beat it to death anyway. But is that some kind of victory? What's the trophy? Like, really? The problem is the people in the other chats on dust panels or wherever, those are men that really believe this. So in the next time coming, a lot of them, they're followers. You're going to see some stuff. It's not going to be good. Now, to women, you are aware there are some people who are out of control. We didn't get to choose them. We don't get to choose what grocery store or what club parking lot they're going to be at, or in the daytime, or coworker. You don't get to choose that. All you can control is how you respond in the way that you communicate with people, friends, enemies, whoever. There's a lot of women who aren't having these problems, but there are some that are having these problems. Might want to do what the ones who aren't having these problems are doing. Not trying to brag or say I'm the greatest, whatever. I don't have women swinging at me. I just don't. I don't have those conversations and all this. What if this happened? What if a woman? I don't have them situate. I don't talk to those people. There's nothing to talk about.
That part.
Yeah. Question for Andrea.
Yes.
Why the language?
The language?
Yeah. Why? How to say it? Now I'm a troll. Those who know me in the chat and everything, I say all kind of reckless, crazy stuff, but they know where it comes from. It's just comedy. It's just jokes. Then they have my real conversation. But
the language
I don't know what
using.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
Okay. If one tells me they're a thug, okay, let me go and make a U-turn. You said you was a thug. I believe you. Or man, these bitch ass whole niggas nickel.
I never said that. No, you can rewind. I never said that. I said bitches. I have a brand called Eat Your Veggies Bitch. I have a cookbook coming out. And I say bitch all the time. I definitely say bitch ass, hoe ass niggas. I would never talk about a man like that ever. That's not what I said ever. Never.
That wasn't
And
coming up in the middle of the conversation, like when y'all were talking about.
never. I never
these
said bitch ass, hoe ass
things.
niggas. I may have said nigga a couple times, but that's not a word that I usually use. I use bitch a lot, not nigga. And the only reason why I just said nigga is because when pre-show, before you even got on, me and Sir Hill was talking and he said niggas. And I was like, okay, I guess I can say niggas. Okay, but niggas is not a word that I really use. I say bitches. Bitches. So no, I didn't say bitch ass, hoe ass niggas. I would never say that.
I'm
Not having a 24-year-old
Hold on, guys. Hold on, guys.
I'm exaggerating.
Hold on, guys, from the audience. Hold on,
Go ahead,
guys.
sir.
Hold on. To all of my editors, I want you guys to take a look at this block. Delete it. The last 2 minutes, just delete it. We heard more cuss words in 2 minutes than this entire stream. Edit it out. All right, Dusto, any final questions for Andrea?
Yeah, and my apology, because that's not even my normal language. I've been on many panels.
Scam likely. I'm not one of those, you know. I do use the word bitch. You can edit that out too, but you can't edit it out too much.
Come on, y'all. Yeah, come on. Yeah, we got to center this back.
But if you follow my Instagram or Facebook, or you go on my website, you will see that I do have a book coming out. I'm a chef. I'm also an author. So yeah, that's why I use that term. But I don't talk about people derogatory, and that's another thing when it comes to social media and these podcasts. People look at you a certain way. People think they judge you, and they don't even know you. You know, it's like we don't even know each other, so we have to give each other grace. That's the problem. We don't give each other no grace. It's like I came on a show and everybody like, who is she? Where did you know? Because Sir Hill, you got your fans. I get it. I ain't no punk, and I am a thug. When I say I'm a thug, that means I stay in the house. I man my business. I focus. I'm an entrepreneur, and all I do is travel the world. Legit. It's no lie. That's all I do. I got one son. He in college, and I don't pay for college. So I ain't like a lot of these women out here in the struggle. All I want to do is come on this podcast, have a good time. If I knew we was going to talk about a woman twerking, half naked, getting busted in the head, I wouldn't have been on here because I don't want to talk about this. But I was fully vested with my friend Sir Hill. I actually didn't even watch no videos about the woman because it was graphic. That was a lot for me. You know what I'm saying? That was a lot. But I do get exactly what you're saying. It's like I said in the beginning of the show, if you watched it, I've got my head bust before. I'm talking about it. If my mama listening, she will find out tonight. And this happened about 10 years ago. I never talked about it. Never went live. Never nothing. My finger. I slapped a man. He broke my finger. He tried to, but I'm a little fast. We was gonna fight. Never told nobody. Never told social media nobody. I'm being transparent tonight. I guess that's why I'm feeling some type of way, because I'm being transparent tonight. Unless you know me in real life, then you don't know that this has happened to me. You know, he don't even know he did it. I never even reached back out to him, talked to him ever again. Somebody I dated, never talked to him again. Just went to the hospital, had to have 2 surgeries on my finger. Got to have another one. Never talked about it. Never until tonight. So I don't know why the chick would go live. Like I got first of all, you look crazy. I'm not gonna lie, but like I'm trying to be, you know, neutral. But why would you go live talking about you got your head buzzed and all this other stuff? I ain't gonna lie, I got too much pride and I'd be too embarrassed to even go live to say in the hospital with my whole face swole, you know. So yeah, I'm being transparent tonight, but I would have never said that otherwise. Like if you go on my social media, I'm a very outgoing, loving. I get inboxes every day like, oh, Fuzzy, you're so positive, you're this, you're that, because I am. I'm amazing. I am. I'm not gonna downplay it. I am. You know, I literally try to uplift people every day. So if I'm going through something, I'm not gonna talk about it on social media. That's not their business. So I'm sorry you got that impression of me, Scam Likely. Y'all be coming on ready. Podcasters be coming on ready like, who the hell? Y'all be ready. I gotta listen to more
No,
podcasts. Y'all be ready.
no, I didn't come for dust. Trust me. Those who know me, when I come for dust, I'm pretty. It's pretty real. I'm a brutal troll.
Scam
But
Likely, I like everybody. Sir Hill, I like everybody who you brought on. You know, Auntie, Scam Likely, the podcast, the young man who was just on. You know, so and I don't even mind the comments. I don't mind. I'm here for it all. You know, if I'm gonna be a public figure, we have to be prepared for everything that comes our way, especially if we on a platform like this speaking. You know.
All right, so that's one final question because I want to make sure I respect Fuzzy's time, and then I got Bolo coming up next. But
Okay.
Fuzzy, I got one request of you, and this is for all women. If a man is saying, "I'm looking out for you," just say thank you. Let a man say, "We're trying to promote being there for all women." Let men be there for you. All right.
Did I miss something?
Yeah. If I'm like, "Hey, look, you good?" Don't be like, "I'm a thug. I'm good." Oh, yeah. Let me.
No. You know, I'm about to, Sir Hill, you know, I'm about to be 45. I'm a very respectful woman. I was raised by my grandmother. I didn't hear him. I wasn't trying to be like, no, I'm good. No, I want all the respect. I want it all. So
This wasn't
if I
about what
didn't,
he
I
said.
apologize.
No, it wasn't about what he said, and you did nothing wrong. I'm just saying, typically when men are like, "Hey, I'm checking on you," our women are so used to saying, "I'm good, I'm tough." I'm saying I want our women to let men be there for you. You see what I'm saying? We know you're tough.
I think you say women. You keep putting me in the category. I let men check on me.
well, he's speaking to the audience
I'm
also.
okay.
I'm just speaking in
I
general.
don't know what
Yeah,
these
he's
other
partially
bitches
speaking
be
to an
going through.
audience.
I'm good.
Yeah, Fuzzy.
So
I'm just speaking in general. That's what I said to you
Right.
and
He's gonna speak to
all
the
ladies.
audience
like that
also.
general speaking.
Yep. All right. Any final questions for Fuzzy?
No, just comment. I was just saying, this is what I hear, this is what I see. It wasn't an attack. You must be one of them modern. I don't do that. People are people because they can see me trolling, acting a super fool, and don't know that the real person is a whole different person. So I understand because I got 38 different alter egos on each different platform. But I was just saying what was said and what is heard, that's what's being seen. And it sounded like the words and how you're presenting is coming off natural. Like this is what comes out, which means it's in the subconscious mind somewhere.
You said it's coming off natural in the subconscious mind?
Meaning, if everything, not saying you, now I'm speaking to the audience, if everything is negative, if everything is loud, or everything is a certain way, that means it's a part of you. So if somebody's saying, "Hey, why is everything you saying a cuss word? Why do you say this evil about me?" They're going to believe that that's what you really are, especially if it's their first time, second time. And if the way that you present it is natural, they assume that's just naturally who you are.
I get it, Scam Likely. Thank you. Well,
Right.
I will say that I may say bitches, but I ain't say nothing about, like, I just used the word bitches. I wasn't talking about, I don't talk about me in that way. I just don't. So maybe it got lost in translation, but I had a father and uncles, and I have a son, and I have a man and a baby daddy. I don't talk about men in that aspect. Like, I'm not one of those women who like, is that a book? Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm sorry. See, I should have moved to Texas. It's a book. My God.
Yeah, I'll let you take care of I'll let you take care of that.
So all I'm saying is that I'm not like that.
Need some help? You good?
Can you come get my bug, Scam Likely?
I live in Florida, and we got all kind of critters.
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is an example of
Bugs ain't nothing to
men
Florida.
protecting women. I love it. You can't beat it. You can't beat it. Excellent. Why don't you get settled? Dusto, is that it? I want to get to our last caller.
Sorry. Yes.
Yeah, that's all I got, ladies and gentlemen. Dustin Crush.
Everybody in the chat, just type Dusto. He came through dropping some gems as well. Appreciate you, my brother, as always.
All right, sorry for the cuss words. My apology.
Excellent. All right, let's bring up our last caller. Bolo TV. If you were here, I'm pulling you up. How are you? and what would you like to add to the stream?
First of all, I'd like to say thank you for having me. Good night. How you doing? How you doing, sis? I think in this conversation that there's a few points made that, you know, as conversations go on, they get convoluted. I think you made a very good point that I think you should have really gone into, opposed to, you know, when you put your hands on somebody, you can't expect them to respond or react in a way in which you want them to respond and react. You know, you have to understand that once you have to understand this, to every action, there's a reaction. And a lot of the times we like to say an equal reaction. It's not always equal, you know, so you don't know where a man or a woman is in their life at that moment in time when you decide to do whatever you're going to do. So expect the worst when it comes to that situation. And pertaining to this situation, you know, men, we are inherently protectors. That's what we are. We're inherently protectors. The first thing that happens when we see something going wrong, when you're dealing with a man, understand just because you may have the genitalia of a man, that doesn't make you a man, right? We're talking about mature men, right? Inherently, we're protectors. We're looking for situations, how to de-escalate a situation. That's what we're inherently looking for, you know, depending on where we are. And you know, we do really quick math in our minds, you know, Sahel. We quickly add things up and say, okay, if I do this, this is going to happen. And we do these things in milliseconds, you know, and we sit back and say, okay, is this a situation that I need to get involved in? And you know, we add these things up. So when you have a woman, I don't know if you've seen the video of her saying, I don't need no man. I don't need no man. Men are this and men are that. Your vibe is going to attract your tribe. You better understand that. Your vibe is going to attract your tribe. So understand the vibration that you put out into that world, it will circulate and come back to you. You have to understand that. You know, again, I'm not an advocate for violence. You know, no one on this platform is an advocate for violence. However, understand violence do exist. However, understand that we're in a world that is wicked and things are going to happen. So a statement was made about raising children in love. We need to raise children in truth and love, because truth given without love is a weapon. We have to understand that. We just can't give love. We have to give them truth. We have to give our children the tools to navigate through this getting darker world so that they're able to understand what's going on. When you give them truth encapsulated in love, you're letting them know this is what the situation is. This is how it should be, Sorrel. But at the end of the day, this is the world we live in. So you have to understand that this is what it is. We understand that as I speak to you as a brother, we understand that there's a certain respect that we have to have for one another, because the propensity for violence is very quick and it can happen. And men, we understand that. But for some reason in this world, the way society has made women, they don't understand that propensity. They want the authority of a man, the responsibility of a child, and they want to be treated as a woman. It doesn't happen that way. You have to pick one, pick your position. You have to pick your position. You have to understand that there are certain things that you can do that we can't, and vice versa. You know, again, in the eyes of God, we're all equal. But when it comes to purpose, we're not. Men and women are not equal in purpose at all. So when you put yourself in a position of being a man, talking with masculinity, talking with your hands in his face, touching his face, slapping him, what do you expect going to happen? Especially around other men. You know what I'm saying, Sahel? Around other men. You know, we're in this world, the society that we're living in, pride and the way other men look at us is in the forefront. You know, they're not taught humility as our Lord and Savior teaches us, right? They're not taught humility. They're not taught these things. They're taught that pride is what, you know, that thug, you know, you got to move in these streets and have that respect in these streets. So if he hits you with a 10, you got to go up to 20 to make sure that it doesn't happen again. So when you're mushing a guy and doing all these different things. I don't know if you've seen other videos of her just slapping people in the face. Now, again, I don't know if that's a skit or whatever, but she's just slapping people in the face. And then when you get to the point where now you get slapped, even though it was, it wasn't really a slap. Now it's, how come we're not protected? How come we're not protected? There's something that I say all the time. There's AAA, acknowledgement, acceptance, and application. Acknowledge that you're the reason why you're in the situation that you're in, not because of no one else. You put yourself in that situation. And then accept the ramifications of the decisions that you make. Remember, to every action, there is a reaction. You have to be able to accept it, because in the middle of acknowledgement and acceptance is the learning curve. You become that better person. You're not the same man or woman you were when you walked in. And last is application. What you've learned from your mistakes, you apply it in your life and become that better person. And then you turn around and be that light for other people that are coming in behind you. That's what I got, sir.
Excellent. I want to ask you this question. Everybody, I so love to Bolo come through this with knowledge. I got a question for you. In mass, as a whole, is it a man's job to protect women, period?
That's a very good question. We protect our tribe. We protect our tribe. In other words, meaning, you're my brother. I'm going to lay my life down for you. I ain't laying my life down for someone that ain't walking the same light I'm walking in. If it's a man trying to walk in that light, then yeah. If I'm a mentor, absolutely. And it translates to women too. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to lay my life down for someone that purposely put themselves in situations that will regulate taking their life. I'm not putting myself in that situation. I got too much to lose. I got too many people, that looks out for me and that I take care of. So this is why the Lord tells you the light hangs out with the light. Righteous is not around wickedness. Why? Because when something happens, I already know that this sister, I already understand what this sister is about. Now, again, do we all have the propensity to slip? Absolutely. If I'm walking into a room and I'm seeing Sir Hale getting beat up, I'm jumping in. And then when I find out, yo, Sir Hale, you was bugging. What happened? But in that moment, I know that that's not your character. We all have the propensity to slip. Yes, men are supposed to protect women that are in that same vibration that I'm in. I'm not putting my life out there for someone at the end of the day that's not in the same walk that I'm in. No, it's not happening at all.
Excellent. I appreciate that answer. I appreciate that, Bolo. I appreciate that. Everybody go ahead.
It's the truth, man. We all say that we want to protect women. We do. But at the same time, we want to protect the right women. It is what it is. The same way we want to protect the right brothers. It is what it is. We want to protect everybody inherently, but we cannot. We can't. And we have to understand that. So then when you realize that you can't, then what do you go to? Who can I protect? Those that will respect my protection. Right? When I protect Sir Hale and he protects me, Sir Hale don't want to see me in the same situation that he just got me out of. Yo, brother, what you doing? I just risked my life getting you out of it. Now you're back in it. Same thing with the sisters. You don't want the propensity of me losing my life. Every day I go out this door, there's a chance I don't come home. There's a chance that I do not come home. So what am I going to do? Protect someone that continuously puts themselves in situations where my life can be taken? Absolutely not. No. It's a disrespect if you do it. What kind of respect do you have for yourself, putting yourself in line of fire of someone that always puts themselves in that situation? You got to respect yourself first. You got to love yourself first before you love your brother. That's why God tells you, love your brother as you love yourself. Sorry for interrupting.
I'm glad you said that, Bolo. Everybody in the chat, just type Bolo TV. I respect your answer. And I will say that I agree. So let me say this. Bolo, you know how, you remember the movie The Lion King?
Yes.
Yeah, chat, y'all remember The Lion King, right? you guys remember the scene where Simba, he goes out, he's trying to roar, he's trying to understand his power, and he wanders off, from Pride Rock, and he goes into the deep shadows where the hyenas are, and he gets himself into trouble. And because of who he perceives himself to be, he puts himself in a position where he's in danger, and he caused himself this danger. He put himself in that position. Well, just as he's about to get attacked by the hyenas and they're about to go to town, Mufasa shows up and defends his son. And after he defends his son, he gets the hyenas off. I mean, in great fashion. He gives Simba a lesson that he told him not to do that. And that just because, they're lions, essentially you don't put yourself in a position of danger just because you have power. Ladies, I think that's a lesson for all of us. Most men are like lions, and there was an instinctive nature in us to protect that which we love. But just because we will protect you does not mean you put yourself in danger. If we have a requirement to protect you, then you have to have a requirement to respect our protection. And my protection is used when it's needed, and you never use my nature just to prove that black men protect black women. Bolo, what do you think about that?
That's very astute, because when you say that, there was another part that I know you remember when he said to his son, when he was walking with him, he said, every place of light is where I rule. That's where you go. In places of darkness, you don't go. I'm not there. My covering is not there. If you go there, you get what you get. You get what you get. Now, again, we're children. You know what I'm saying? We're going to go into places we shouldn't, but as adults, we should learn. So again, as your man, as your brother, as the community, yes, there is a covering that we give. But when you go outside that light and you decide to walk in the darkness, you on your own. You on your own. You don't get to use my protection to justify your madness. You don't get to do that. You know why you don't get to do it? Because I'm not going to vilify that. Because once you cash that check, I got to pay it. Nah, ma, you on your own. And hopefully you learn from it so that you don't have to go back into it. Lord willing. But what the man said, what Sir Hale said was absolutely 100%. We're being used as, how they say, when you put the canary in the tunnel, and usually the canary is the first thing that dies. We're being used as canaries, man. Nah. We got to start standing up and saying, no, we take a stand. If you decide to put yourself in a situation that I distinctly told you not to put yourself in, then you got to get yourself out of it. You got to get yourself out of it, because I could potentially die. There is no do-overs. I don't go around 300 and I get a new man. I'm done. And guess what happens? Another dude claims you. But I'm gone. My family's gone. My children are fatherless. Nah. We got to start loving ourselves. We got to start, as men, we have to start recognizing and loving ourselves and knowing what we're worth. Because when you know what you're worth, then you're going to demand your value in your standards. And you're going to be able to say, no, she decided to go down there, then she's going to have to deal with what comes with it. Period. She got to deal with it. And hopefully she learns from it. And she becomes a better person, because that's what it is. She thank the Lord that she's awake and walking. Hopefully the videos that you see that I've seen where she's just slapping cats and talking, I don't need no man, all this. I bet you thought you needed a man that night.
Yep. I saw that as well.
You know what I'm saying? So when you sit there, all of your words are coming, and you say how the Lord is so awesome. All of your words that you said are now coming back to bite you. I don't need no man. But in that video, where were all the men? Where was my protection? Well, you were in the darkness. You weren't in the light, ma. So there was no protection. There was none. Because inherently, men know that when something is wrong, we're going to stand up for right. inherently, even if it means losing our life. If we see a kid crossing the street, that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be my kid. I'm going to do my best to try and get that kid out of the street. We know when it's something innocently happening, when it's something that's just happening or going too far, we jump into action. But when we sit there and we know, nah, we good. Let that play out, Sir Hale. Let it play out. Lord willing, she gets out of it. And, you know, she learned from it, because the best teacher is experience, my G. Ain't nothing gonna hit harder than life.
Bolo, as always, I appreciate you coming through, dropping gems. Everybody in the chat, if you haven't already subscribed to Bolo TV, be sure to subscribe to Bolo. Great wisdom, great perspective, great insight. I truly appreciate you, my big brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you having me.
Absolutely. Y'all, this has been a fantastic show. This has been really good. And I want to make something clear to everybody who's watching. You guys heard me earlier when I said, if a woman hits me, would I hit her back? And I said unequivocally, absolutely. The goal of me telling you that I would absolutely defend myself is not because I'm suggesting that there are no differences between men and women and that men should go out at women. That is certainly not the case. But one of the defining issues of our culture is we don't respect boundaries. We don't respect consequences. We think that we can say, we can do anything we want to do and then legislate how people respond to us. And so here's my thing. If you don't want to have to consider the backlash of what you do, then we all have to respect each other. There is no man that should be perpetuating violence against any man or woman. And the same is equally true for women. But I think what we've done is, when it's convenient, we hide behind our gender, we hide behind our religion, we hide behind our femininity or masculinity, depending on you're man or woman. We hide behind something to justify our behavior while we eliminate any reasons for why the person responded to what we did. And so the reason why I said I would absolutely defend myself is because I think people in today's culture, we don't respect anything. We don't respect anybody's boundaries until those boundaries come back to bite us. So again, we don't promote this. We don't listen. Listen, let me, no one has ever come up to me and done this. This has never happened. But why is it? Is it because people are nice? No, it is because when a man walks in a particular way, you know who you can play with and who you can't. And so my goal would be for a woman to never set that scenario up. That should never happen. But here's what I believe. If you're big and bad enough to do it, you got to eat the consequences, and you have no right to complain. Here is the solution to avoid it. What did they teach us in kindergarten? Keep your hands to yourself. And I think we got to get back to some of those lessons. All right, guys, I think that's going to wrap up the show tonight. Before we go, let me send some love to everybody who sent a super chat. I appreciate everybody. Hanifa Naila with the $10 super chat. She says, as usual, great convo. KP from KC5 sends a $1.99 super chat. He says, ranch dressing for the word salad. Mosaic with TJ Randolph says, I think the outrage is because of the level of violence. And you're absolutely correct. Like, that brick to the face was over the top, over the absolute top. Over the top. Absolutely agree with that. Marcus Evans says, Sir Hale, you do realize you got on your show gaslighting you and protecting the brick girl. So everybody has a right to their perspective. Everybody has a right to how they see things and how they feel. And as a moderator, as somebody who interviews, I understand how it is to be on the hot seat. And when you're talking and somebody's asking you questions and you're on the defense, it seems like somebody's trying to pin you in the corner and get a moment. And so I try to be cognizant of that. I try to be really quick to understand somebody else's point of view. And I stay away from trying to call people names, because when people come to the conversation, unless you guys have years of experience, there's an assumption that somebody's trying to get you, particularly if somebody has done this before. So no, she's not a hyena. She's not a hyena. Do I agree with all the perspective? No, but she's not a hyena. I've met her in real life, And I think that even though we don't see eye to eye on certain things, and that there is some bias, I don't think that she's a hyena at all. I appreciate your $5 super chat. I'll salute again to KP from KC5. She still sees us as slaves. No, I don't think that was the case. I think that when we were talking about this, we're still dealing with the residue of slavery, which is in some way very true. I think it's obviated in how we treat each other today and the lack of respect that we have for one another. Mr. G, 1804, imagine coming to her every day. Thank you, the Hawk TV, with the $9.99 super chat. He says, is it government assistance's fault or the individuals? Keyword individuals. Fault for those possibly abusing said system. Peace, love, and hail to Sir Hail and the chat. Appreciate you, the Hawk TV. I think that's a very valid point, y'all. And the reason why this point is valid is because even though those programs came and there was a need for it, nobody forced us as a community. Now, if we're talking about structural and systems, then we can make a case that we had no options. But I'm saying that to say I do think that we have to take responsibility for our role in how our community has turned out, and we can't completely shift the blame to institutions, even though they are a major factor for where we are today. A great point, the Hawk TV. Thank you so much for coming through. And then MC Recovery and Relapse, good to see you, says, lost in translation, salute, brought that fire. Appreciate everybody tonight for coming through. I appreciate you guys for coming through. Much love to all of you. Guys, listen, we've got to get back to respect and loving each other, but we got to get back to that respect part. I'm seeing too much violence, too much disrespect. It's so normal now that we have an unlimited supply of content because we have a decayed respect and love and compassion for each other. And it makes good for a good talk show. It makes good for a good live. But when you turn off the camera and go out into real life, you start to realize that one day you're not going to be here. And if we don't help make this world a better place, we're going to leave behind a very scary world for our children. And as a father, I think it's important that not only do we have conversations like this, but that we do something about it. Ladies, do not put yourself in harm's way. Do not let the realm of social media make you believe that you have a level of freedom to do what you want to do and can absolve yourself from consequences. It's not true. And then the same thing is true for men. We've got to get back to the place where we have self-respect and we have respect for each other. And I do believe that it is a man's job to protect women. Now, some of you guys may not agree. Some of y'all say, no, I only respect and protect women who come under my purview. I only respect and protect women who do right. I get you. But I think if we're looking at this as a whole, I believe that it is a man's job to protect women. Here's the flip side of that. I don't believe that it is okay for women to make that job hard. Like, don't put a man in a position where he could lose his life, his freedom. He can lose a limb. He could get himself unnecessarily injured, and you have no respect to the damage you caused him because he's just doing his job while you're negligent. Just because you have car insurance doesn't mean you go intentionally have a crash just to prove you got insurance. It's the same thing for our women. Just because you got the protection of a man, don't put yourself in a position unnecessarily just to prove you have it. All right, guys, it's been a dope show. Much love to you. I will be at the Black Manosphere Conclave. I'm leaving out tomorrow to Atlanta, and I'll be there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's going to be amazing. If you guys haven't already got your tickets and subscribed to the Black Manosphere Conclave, the details will be a part of this description, and you guys can go to my community tab. We'll love to see you guys there. Well, to all of our super chatters, to all of our channel members, if you guys want to become a member, it is not too late to become a channel member. Appreciate all of your love, all of your support, all the cash apps. Shout out to Lady Novoa. She's a supporter. She's a member. She's a moderator, and she supports as well. Thank you so much for all that you do. To all of our moderators, much love. Good to see you all. Have a great night. And if I don't talk with you guys again soon, I'll see you guys in Atlanta. Much love and respect to you. Have a good night, everybody. Peace.
Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 난 겨울. Yeah, 가요 cold-blooded. Yeah, 너와 있을 때 I swear. 제가 먼저 zero 폭설혹한 기출돼. 꿈에도 I wasn't done. 나만 빼고 넌 모두에게 참 친절해. 배신감이 들어 단판이 돼도 머릿속을 흔드니 ibuprofen 그만해 it's time to stop. 승부욕을 자극하는 style. Yeah, 알면서도 마음이 자꾸 내게 가. 아마 빠져버릴까. If you want me back, I'll tell you I'm sorry. If you want me back, I'll tell you stop trying. Yeah, you got me. Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Yeah, girl, you're cold-blooded. Yeah, girl, you're cold-blooded. Yeah. Girl, you're cold-blooded. Girl, you're cold-blooded. I'm like frozen 뭐야 모든 stress은 gotta let it go 했어. 속였던 dating 어플 다 깔아 또 보았어. 반대가 끌린대 opposites attract. Don't know about me and you, yeah we fell into the cracks. Yeah 갖고 너네 no cap. 왜 난 안 보여 what's happening. 객관적일 수가 없이 이미 game white flag and wave it fast. Yeah I'm leaving back but 말해도 너만 보면 나도 내 맘 I don't know 이건 love a relationship이 헷갈리기만 해 girl. I'll tell you I'm sorry. If you want me back, I'll tell you stop trying. Yeah, you got me. Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Girl, you're cold-blooded. Let it go. 얼어붙어 like whoa. 띵하고 어지러워. I see. 한여름에도 넌 겨울. Girl, you're cold-blooded. Yeah, girl, you're cold-blooded. Girl, you're cold-blooded. Girl, you're cold-blooded. Yeah, girl, you're cold-blooded. Girl, you're cold-blooded. Girl, you're cold-blooded.